You're listening to The Pete Shepard Show.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you today? It is the Pete Shepard Show. It is Tuesday, August 6th already, as we deal in the aftermath here in much of the state of Florida from Hurricane Angel Martinez's wife, Debbie. No, because she's not a Y, she's an IE. And she's much sweeter than what happened here the last few days. But the sun is finally going to shine. PSA right out of the gate as I'm looking, Angel, in Tampa. I don't know how close you are to the Howard Franklin Bridge, but 2 lanes are blocked at the Tampa end due to repairs from Hurricane Debbie. So you are in absolute total gridlock if you are headed anywhere near that way. But good morning. This is Pete Shepard Show. We'll check in with Angel in just a second. Welcome here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out across the video platform. My blue check mark, once again, will be returned tomorrow, I'm told, by the forces at Twitter X. Don't know why. Angel has a pretty good theory that we'll get to. But you can still follow me there because there's other ways to follow me on Twitter X. Facebook at SR1029thegame.com, Ion TV, CSN Florida, Spotify, Rumble, LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube. You call or text the show, 727-858-6650. I was going to have Ernie Dion today, but he's too busy playing at Jeffrey Osborne. Yes, that one. In Rhode Island. Jeffrey, a great singer, as most of you know, On the Wings of Love, among his many, many hits. But Ernie will be back with us tomorrow. Basketball legend will get his thoughts on the Olympic team and other stuff and how his book is doing. Today, one guest, Mia O'Brien, live from Jacksonville Jaguars camp. She's always a hoot and just a ton of knowledge about not only the Jaguars, but the NFL. We'll get her thoughts as well. Lots of NFL sound to get to today. Lots of college football news to tell you about as well. Didn't get a chance to get to it yesterday. The USA Today coaches poll is out. We'll go through that. And Brett McMurphy from the Action Network, he's got a better poll. Of course, it fits my narrative. You know why. Because these guys are ranked even higher than McElroy's poll that came out last week on SEC Network when he had the Hurricanes 12th. But, you know, it's maybe it fits my narrative, but I'm going to go through, I think, very succinctly, Brett McMurphy's college football poll. Pretty cool. We got an MLB rundown coming up, and oh my goodness, I guess I like torturing myself. I was actually going to throw some, like $5 in shekels on the White Sox last night. I was like, it's got to end. I don't care who they're playing. It's got to end. But no, it did not. The one highlight is they were down to the A's last night. And this is how I was watching the game after the Red Sox had the game in hand with Kansas City, which they won, which we'll get to in the Red Sox report at 8:15. The White Sox tied the game at 1, and then they lost 5-1 in Oakland in front of 10 people. And 21 straight losses by the Chicago White Sox, ties an American League record set by the Baltimore Orioles back in 1988. Wait to hear some of the reaction from some of the broadcasters. And, that's what I'm going to play. I'm not playing any highlights from that game. It's just not, but the aftermath, especially Ozzie Guillen and Frank Thomas, is well worth a listen. 21 straight. There are little league teams there that can't lose 21 straight. It's unbelievable. So we have that. We'll have some Olympic updates as well, if I have time to get to them, and a whole lot more. So anyway, thank you for joining us. We say good morning to Angel Martinez, who just recently got his Wi-Fi back this morning after a mess up in the Tampa area, which we know is going on down here. The cleanup continues down here in Southwest Florida, Fort Myers Beach, at least. Estero Boulevard on the island. It looks okay. People are still massive flooding. Still got idiots in small cars and electric cars. You idiots, moron, numbnuts, trying to go through puddles. On Cape Coral, they had something like over a dozen tows with idiotic people in electric cars trying to get through this stupid rain. It's idiotic. I mean, if you have one of those monster trucks or something like that, or a truck that's up high, okay, maybe you take a chance. Any other vehicle, you're stupid. And you get what you deserve. You're stupid. Unless you want to paddle down in Cape Coral and Fort Myers Beach and some other areas that are flooded, and they clearly are signs up and telling you not to do it. Yet you got idiots, and even in Punta Gorda, some people in intersections clearly marked off. They just plow through. They don't get through, and it just makes it worse. Anyway, Angel, good morning. Like I said, the Howard Franklin Bridge in Tampa is absolute gridlock right now. 2 lanes blocked because of the repairs going on. But how are you doing, sir? And your domicile with the lovely Debbie.
I am good. P, good morning. I was trying to get the Ion TV report from this morning. I know his website was so crazy busy because he had. So, for those who don't know, we're powered by Ion Tampa Bay, and he has a scanner which pretty much provides the weather updates, weather outlook. Normally, you have to subscribe to it. It has nothing to do with us. This is what's on iontampabay.com, iontv.com. But he made it available for everyone so people can stay in tune to what was going on with the weather. So I haven't gotten the local weather traffic report as of yet. But yeah, we've had, I think the funny part was Pete it came in on Saturday night. When the hell did we get it? Saturday night into Sunday, Monday.
Well, you guys, it started with us on Friday night.
Yeah.
Saturday. Saturday and Sunday were the two worst days with heavy rains and wind. But like I said, we got lucky where we are in Fort Myers. But go ahead.
We had it Sunday into Monday night, but the Weather Channel, God bless. I know they really try to do such a great job, but the one
No. I don't even mean to interrupt. No, that guy comes into town, and I'll never forget that son of a bitch. So you know what I'm talking about, Mr. Cantor, who came here and caused an absolute panic during the last hurricane at Hertz Arena with all this bullshit. And I'm telling you, do not watch the Weather Channel in Florida. If you're stick with your local news up in Tampa and down here. No matter where you are, do not watch the Weather Channel. Is 99% fucking propaganda. It is unbelievable. They try to cause a panic. It's unbelievable. They wish this shit. It's unbelievable how irresponsible they can be. Continue.
So there's one lady's out. She's on, which I could assume was on JFK Boulevard, John Kennedy Boulevard.
Yeah.
Kennedy Boulevard. And she's, so, you get the wind because it's going about 35 miles an hour. So the wind signs are just kind of going back and forth a little bit. And she has a baseball helmet on, and she's saying, I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit by the palm fronds and sideways.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, then the funny part was the person who just walked right on by, like, okay, you're blown away from the wind. I'm walking away from the wind, but it's just, it's their nonsense. The ones that I feel the most, other than Fort Myers getting flooded again, as far as Fort Myers Beach, but so Cedar Key in Fort Myers, of course, continues to get rebuilt. But in Cedar Key, unfortunately, there was this one hotel and a couple of houses that are across the street because the last one from last year, Idalia, caused a ton of damage at Cedar Key. So there's one one hotel finally were getting ready to launch their opening because after a year's worth of repairs and insurance stuff and everything else, they get hit with the same kind of flooding. And so now the pool that they put the new decking on, that got all torn up. And so now Cedar Key, some of the houses down there, some of the people have to redo it all over again. So the hurricanes, even though, yes, it's one of those things when you live in paradise you have to deal with. But the only thing, the biggest, obviously, damage is always water. And because it's low lying here and we're on the Gulf Coast, that's where you take in the most amount of damage and flooding and everything else. So, another spot that we go to, Sam's in Hudson, great restaurant, right on the water. Same thing. They had just reinforced their building. It might have been maybe just before Idalia, if I remember correctly. And they had it where the water was coming in to the point where it couldn't. What's the word I'm looking for here? It couldn't
receive. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, it couldn't freaking recede. And then so you have, let's just say there's the Gulf here and their deck is up. I would say at least a good, maybe 4 or 5 feet up in the air compared to where you walk on the surface. And the water thankfully only came up to the decking. So I think they avoided massive flooding.
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with the tide. Like I know as flooded as it was down here, I mean, high tide didn't come into like late Saturday afternoon, early evening, on the island on Fort Myers Beach. So they actually got a little lucky when the force of the storm hit. It was pretty much low tide, but then it just kept coming and coming, and then you can only do so much. And I know they've tried these what do they call it? Burns, Berns, which is like a natural type of fence, if you will, of the land, and they tried it, but it can only do so much. But at least the pictures I saw and the videos I saw this morning on the local news, anyway, uh, things are starting to get better down here. But the Weather Channel, they do that stuff all the time. It is absolutely ridiculous. He'll be out there and it's in a blizzard somewhere. And look we got thunder blizzard, we got thunder lightning in the blizzard, and it's like he almost wants to get hit by lightning. They love the dramatic. They will stand. That guy will stand in like an alleyway on purpose where wind is going to be funneled in just so he can make it look like he's really, really struggling.
Yeah.
I implore everybody, I'm telling you, when serious situations happen, whether it's hurricanes or blizzards, wherever you are around the country, around the world, or any type of disaster, do not watch the Weather Channel. Watch your local news. If you want to watch if you want to watch propaganda and overhyped with a lot of alliteration, meteorologists trying to tell you to panic, which is what they do. They tell you to panic without saying it. Then watch the Weather Channel. And then you got other people like Matt Devitt down here at Wink News, who does an unbelievable job. And he is the calm, cool, collected voice of reason. So are all the other meteorologists here in Southwest Florida. But he is the one that will tell you not to panic. And he will tell you take steps why you should not panic, as opposed to putting the Weather Channel on. It's like, they have the typical bread, water, milk, and it's tornado. It's a twister, honey, it's a twister. It is unbelievable how bad they have gotten over the years. That used to be good. It used to be sort of a reliable source, but I'm telling you, stick with your local meteorologist. You'll feel much better. Anyway, off my soapbox. Gascon Guy says, morning, fellas. Hope everyone is doing good today. Gascon Guy, hope you are doing well. Lehigh Acres got whacked pretty good.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's interesting yesterday, Angel, around here from I don't know, it was like I'd say from 4 to 5:30. We didn't get any thunder and lightning during the tropical storm / Hurricane Debbie. But yesterday, some heavy downpours late afternoon for about 10 minutes. And then the rain stopped. But the lightning and thunder was Shazam-like, Thor-like, through the roof for an hour and a half. Unbelievable lightning strikes yesterday. I don't know if you guys got that up there or not. But it was, we got it down here for like an hour and a half. And luckily nobody got hurt. But I mean, like every 2 or 3 minutes, bolts, big thunder, bolts. And anywho, well, glad everybody's doing okay. Like I said, the one thing in the Tampa area that I have in front of me is how far are you, Angel, from the Franklin Bridge?
So I'm at least 25 minutes away from the Howard Franklin.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening there, and for those who don't live in the area, they're trying to raise it, elevate it just a little bit more, because the normal summer storms, sometimes depending on how fast the winds are coming around, when we get those microbursts, the water always hits and lands onto the runway. And that's the reason why they've been trying to elevate it. They've been doing a good job. I think I want to say like halfway through from the St. Pete side coming over to the Tampa side to get done. But anytime it floods in the area, especially when we have high winds, like whether it be a tornado, hurricane, or a microburst, it always causes something because the water is just constantly slapping against the concrete bridge over there. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised of it being shut down. The same way with the Skyway. The Skyway, I think after about 35 miles an hour, sustained winds, and they just shut it down and have everybody detour around 275.
Yeah, as I said, there's delays on the Howard Franklin Bridge. 2 lanes are blocked at the Tampa and due to repairs from Debbie. It's just absolute gridlock. And then Hillsborough Avenue westbound is closed at Dale Mabry due to flooding. Eastbound down to 1 lane.
Yep.
If that means anything to you and your people up in the Tampa area. All right, let's get to some sports, shall we? Let's make people feel a lot better about college football, right? Oh, guys, I say, Pete, did you get hit by that storm this morning at 2:30? It was crazy. In Lehigh, big thunderstorm, lots of lightning, really bad lightning. I was asleep. at 2:30. I did not get up until 5:07 a.m. this morning Eastern time. By the way, we want to say good morning and hello to everybody, not only around the state of Florida and this great country of ours in the Northeast, as well. My friends in New England, Angels friends in Philadelphia, our friends all over. We have people in Colorado, Arizona, California, everybody lives. But how about around the world? And Angel came up with some newbies yesterday or last week, right? India, Pakistan,
Yep.
um,
Nigeria,
Nigeria.
Uzbekistan, Israel. We got a couple. I forgot to update it because since things are sporadic around here. But we've got. If I remember correctly, the last time I looked, about 4 other new countries as well, including France has been around, but because of some of the Olympics coverage that we've been doing, they've been listening in as well to see what's going on, and our good friends down in Brazil. Even though we're not doing the Spanish version of the Olympic coverage, but I may end up throwing something together. So our folks down there in Brazil, even though it's a different language because the dialect is completely different, but they would still understand, because if they do like most people do now, they just put their phone up to anywhere they're listening, hit translate, and they can understand things that are going on. But I want to say it was about 7 new places that we have not been listening into. They are now listening. So it continues to grow, which is a beautiful thing.
That's awesome.
It motivates me as the growth of things.
And the app is doing great. I mean, you said, and the app is going to be available, at sr102.9.com, right? You say, go there and you can get it soon. It's going to be in the App Store very soon. And you said we've got a lot more followers already, a lot that have gone to it, correct?
Yeah, and a lot of people that have gone to it. Don't forget, you guys can download it directly from the website. I know a lot of people end up looking and they kind of give it the, what is that? Just download it to any device that you have. It makes it a lot easier, and it takes a little bit before it gets to the app stores. So if you guys have downloaded the stuff from the App Store and it doesn't work, that's the reason why, because I've been talking about it for the last month. After the redesign of the app I put up there, you have to go directly to the website. But we have a crazy amount of traffic, which is really nice, to the website. People are checking out the content that's up there, and these shows, as they are done for the day, then I go back and upload all the audio and the video. So if you missed the show, now you can go over to sr1029thegame.com, over to the Sports Radio 1029 tab, and then Pete's show will be up there, and his audio will be directly to the right of it. And anything that he, as far as his Twitter handle is up there as well, so you guys can give him a follow. All that stuff is directly from the site, and you can also do it directly from the app as well. So when you download the app, it pretty much mirrors the website as well, and it's a beautiful thing. So visit, download. We greatly appreciate it because it doesn't cost you guys anything.
Exactly. And you're doing an awesome job, as always, Angel. One NFL note, we're going to have a bunch of NFL notes and sounds from camp coming up in a little bit. I'm going to start with college football, but this little note for my Patriot fans out there. There is that rumor deal out there about Brandon Ayuk coming to the Patriots, and the Browns were involved in this too. He's either going to get traded. Big story is one or the other. The Patriots would send Kendrick Bourne and picks. The Browns would send Amari Cooper and picks. So despite what the 49ers have said over the last couple of weeks about, no, they're not trading Brandon Ayuk and everything else, it certainly looks like that he's going to get dealt at some point to either the Patriots or the Browns. Jeff Kleiman says the 49ers have the framework of a Brandon Ayuk trade with both the Browns and the Patriots. So we shall see.
So is it real quick there, Pete? Is it one of those? Do you think that Brandon is just upset with the 49ers? He just wants to get out of there, or is he just all about the money?
I think it's both. For whatever reason, he just feels, here we go, disrespected. For whatever reason, feels disrespected, and he doesn't want to be there. Does not want to be there. And I hope he comes to the Patriots. I've been wishing for that, as you know, for like about a month and a half when the rumors first started. I'm like, please try to get him. It would be fantastic.
Well,
He'd be a great fit. And he would be for any. He'd be a great fit for Cleveland too, as well.
I spoke with Harry Roseman last night on the phone. I think we were up about 1 a.m. and we're trying to make a trade deal for Brandon Ayuk. So
no, you got Dombrowski. You're not getting him. All right, if we could, let's start with college football. It's just Jim Harbaugh, which we'll get to in a second, or Jim Harbaugh we'll get to in a second. his reaction yesterday on Get Up, and Paul Feinbaum on about the Michigan allegations. In the case you don't know, the Michigan head coach, Sharon Moore, is one of 7 members from last year's football program accused of NCAA rules violations in a draft of the NCAA's notice of allegations. So, anyway, here's Feiney's take, and Pete Thamel as well, and Greeny on Get Up yesterday.
Okay, Paul, I'm coming to you with the simplest of questions. Big deal? Not a big deal?
I don't think it's a big deal. And Greeny, I'm struggling to remember anything other than the fact that you had to stop your golf round yesterday because of lightning. But the point being here is this is all a continuation of a long, drawn-out story that in many people's eyes, probably other than the NCAA, is over. Let's not forget that Charlie Baker, the president of the NCAA, and this may sound out of context because it probably is, but after Michigan won the national championship, he said they won fair and square. I remember that, and I think a lot of lawyers are going to remember that too if this case goes very far and puts Michigan in the crosshairs. I think the reporting on this by Pete is fantastic, and I'm not trying to minimize it. But the point is that in the big picture of college athletics, nobody respects the NCAA. Nobody really cares about the NCAA. And there are a team of lawyers ready to drag this out and to threaten the NCAA if they dare do anything to Michigan other than a slap on the wrist.
Can I also confirm one thing I think I read in your story, Pete, that actually made me laugh out loud? Did the NCAA just this weekend confirm that was indeed Connor Stalions on that opposing sideline?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. What our eyes and sensibilities dictated to us last fall was officially confirmed that Connor Stalions was in a disguise, wearing Central Michigan issued team gear.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
When they played Michigan State, they also said he bought a ticket for one of the interns who stood in the crowd and taped Michigan State's signals during that game.
Yes. Can I just point out the funny part of this? Is that it took them till now to confirm this? I confirmed it the first time I saw the video. Okay.
Right. Good stuff there. You know, and before I react to that, Angel, I want you to hear yesterday at Chargers practice, Jim Harbaugh with his, what I call his Richard Nixon, I am not a crook type of response. If we can play that whenever the commercial is done, which I know we have, but it's just unbelievable. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
How does it take over a year to figure out that guy was on the sideline? We could all see it last season, but hey,
that was all confirmed last year. The NCAA is a joke. Doesn't matter.
Unbelievable.
All right,
here's Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Never lie, never cheat, never steal. I was raised with that lesson. I have raised my family on that lesson. I have preached that lesson to the teams that I've coached. No one's perfect. If you stumble, you apologize, and you make it right. Today, I do not apologize.
I'm not a crook.
I did not participate, was not aware, nor complicit in those said allegations. So for me, it's back to work and attacking with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
Oh, sure. Sorry. God bless me. Look, a couple of things here. First of all, Connor Stalions, first of all, the head coach knows exactly what's going on. This is the same. I'm not comparing it to Joe Paterno, what happened over there, but you are responsible for your staff. That's just the way it is. And Jim Harbaugh is responsible for people that are, on his staff. Connor Stalions, first of all, I don't understand, because what a threat the Chippewas must have been last year, opening game, Central Michigan, the Chippewas, one of the great names out of the MAC. Why you would need to have their signals taped or anything like that is absolutely beyond me. It doesn't make any sense. This guy was clearly there. Everybody knew it. They knew about the Michigan State stuff as well, with him buying a ticket and sitting in the front row there. I just don't understand it. So Jim Harbaugh, you are responsible. Feiny's absolutely right, though. Nothing's going to come of this. Despite all that, Angel, I take nothing away from Michigan winning the national championship last year. Nothing, because they deserved it. We can sit here and do all the conspiracy theories we want. Nick Saban may have had one of his worst coach games in a title game like that, or in the set, whenever it was. He tried to run the ball up the middle so many times in that game against Michigan, and just turned into a brick wall. So I will give Harbaugh and his staff a lot of credit, winning the national title. If you want to say was it totally fair and square, I don't know. I think most of it was, because they were that good last year. They were so good that J.J. McCarthy didn't have to throw a whole hell of a lot. That's how good they were with their offensive line and defense. This year might be a little different, nevertheless. So I'm not taking away anything from them. Charlie Baker or anybody else in charge of the NCAA is a job I would never want except for the money, because you got no power. Absolutely no power. Charlie Baker came out, as Feiney said after the game last year, and said, hey, nothing to see here. They want it fairly and squarely. So people can try and say they want lawyers involved and everything else. Nothing will come of it. Nothing. If it's a slap on the wrist, somebody will get suspended one game, or they lose a scholarship here or there. That's all that's going to come of this. So I'm not taking anything away from what Michigan did last year. But for Jim Harbaugh to come out and say, I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, you did. I just don't know why you needed, and I'm sure, this might go on in other, from other programs as well. We just don't hear about it.
Right.
But clearly, that was the case. And if we could go to before we go to break, if we go to my Twitter page, Angel, this is really funny. Let me see. I just tweeted it out. It's from Pat McAfee show yesterday. It's just Pat and Pete Thamel here. And this is the Connor Stallions reaction. Pat McAfee show. It should be the first one right there. This is more reaction from what the Connor Stallions and Jim Harbaugh and everything else. So here's what happened on Pat McAfee, Pete Thamel, and his show yesterday.
Ty, Pete has a question for you.
Yeah, Pete. So if Sharon Moore was to be implicated in this whole ordeal, is there any chance that maybe we look at a guy like Connor Stallions and maybe see him, exonerated a tiny bit? Because obviously his good name was besmirched. I know he does have a Netflix documentary coming out, One of the Untolds, and I believe he is the main character, so we might get some additional information. But are they still planning on kind of just hanging this whole thing on Connor Stallions' head? Or is he potentially, going to have his name exonerated because he has kind of just been made a huge piece of shit in the world of college football?
Well, if you read the draft notice type,
which I did front to back, yes. 2 times,
it really shows the breadth and the extent of the illicit in-person scouting scheme that Connor Stallions orchestrated. There were 58 instances of illegal off-campus scouting that the NCAA alleges. That includes 53 games and 13 different opponents. I found some of those details to be really interesting. We knew he did this a lot, but over a 3-year span, and it grew. It grew from 21 to 22. I thought it was really interesting, Pat. In 2022, they said that Michigan illegally off-campus scouted one program 7 different times. So they said people do 7 games of one of their opponents to steal the signals and bring them back to Stallions. And it was interesting. I've read way more of these notice of allegations over the years than you would ever want to do, and I found this one pretty interesting. That Connor Stallions really left a lot of breadcrumbs. Yes. They cite calendars. They cite hard drives with protected passwords. Yeah, he basically didn't do a very good job covering his tracks, and you could almost sense the giddiness of the NCAA investigators in the notice to say how much hard evidence they had. But if you remember too, Pat, the interesting thing about this case and what's made it one of the most unique ones I ever covered was the NCAA was basically brought all this information, which is why the Big Ten ended up suspending Jim Harbaugh for the final 3 games of the season. This wasn't hey, this might be happening, let's go find it. It was here is this intricate scheme, and here are all these details of this intricate scheme. They're playing Michigan State on Saturday. the Big Ten makes the unprecedented decision to call out one of their own members, let people know what they're doing in order to protect the integrity of the rest of the season. So it's not surprising that there are just so many different things. I mean, obviously, remember he used his own credit card. That was one of the big tells in all this. So it was interesting as an experienced reader of this to see how much detail there was about the scheme that Stalions.
All right, we'll see you next hour, Pete. We appreciate the hell out of you, pal. We'll see you then, Jerry.
It's just Connor Stalions is the anti-James Bond. You'd never want to hire this guy to be a secret agent. It'd be like in Mission Impossible, the first one, when Tom Cruise was being lowered down to the CIA computer, as if he was just absent, if it just fell. And the evidence overwhelming. What an absolute moron. I mean, if you're going to do this, have some pride. Do it right.
Yeah.
Have some pride and do it right. And then is it McElwain, who's coaching the Chippewas, former head coach at Florida? I believe he's still coaching out there. And I'm like, you see this guy on the sideline. He's there. He's mingling with, it seemed, coaches and players. You just saw it in the other video from Get Up, and it's like, I go back to the Seinfeld episode when Paul O'Neill says to George, how'd you get in here? Didn't anybody notice anything? Did anybody say, who is this? I mean, I want to know how he passed himself off. He had a badge. Obviously, he's on the Chippewas sideline. I think it's very bizarre to me.
I'm going to try that with the Bucks this year. I'm just going to buy me some fan gear and just, make my own badge and just, look, I'm credentialed. See you later.
I think Todd Bowles would probably, have something to say about that. But you could say, hey, I'm the play-by-play voice for the Orlando Predators. I can do what I want. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're getting into the college football poll that was released yesterday by USA Today. See what you think. We'll go through that, and then a more detailed poll with Brett McMurphy from the Action, who did a really succinct breakdown, and his numbers are a little bit different. The AP poll, by the way, comes out next week. All right, it's all part of the Pete Shepard Show right here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, IonTP.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Eye on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
There we go. Back here at the Pete Shepherd Show. Here it is Tuesday, August 6th. Here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. You can follow me on Twitter, X at PShep326. On Facebook at SR1029 The Game and SR1029thegame.com. We have powered by Ion Tampa Bay, Ion TV. Also on CSN Florida, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube. Call or text at 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. Yeah, Rumble's been doing really well for us, Angel, and not to, we appreciate all the video platforms we're able to get on. I saw some stunning numbers about Twitch that were not good lately, and they may be on their way out. Their numbers, their percentage of people, we have a pretty good percentage, I think. But overall, the Twitch is the only one that's not really doing well across the country. And that was like one of the first ones, especially on Twitter. Twitch was big on Twitter, but now it's Rumble seems to be taking over for as far as like that goes.
Yeah, Rumble's been doing really, really good for us at least, and we're getting a good amount of people to tune in, which is really nice. And it's always good to see other folks from other platforms and other places to come watch what we do over here. But yeah, it's been pretty big. And looking at, by the way, before we get into the other stuff too, on IonTampaBay.com, you guys can follow him also on IonTV.com on X as well. But there was a crash, and I don't think it's been cleared yet, in Pinellas County, northbound I-275 area, close to 118th Avenue at the Roosevelt exit. And for those who don't know, that's when you're approaching towards the St. Pete Clearwater Airport. So if you guys are in the area, just kind of take it easy over there, because I'm looking at the live cam and they're still trying to get the one car turned around. Unfortunately, it's the cars are whizzing right by. So God bless, because I know it's kind of tough when you got people going at 1,000 miles an hour and you're trying to clear up an accident.
All right. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. I'm looking at synchronized swimming. Team USA moonwalked upside down underwater yesterday, and somebody's saying, I'll never understand how they trained for this. It is unbelievable. Of course, nothing will compare to the scene in Caddyshack when the caddies also did synchronized swimming. and it's very funny. Before somebody threw the Baby Ruth candy bar in the pool, and Spalding went, dude, Duty. I don't know. I still have watched very little of the Olympics at all. Just some of the basketball. That's it. I wish I could get into it, but I'd rather watch, inter squad football games of college football than watch the Olympics. It just don't. I'm glad we're leading in medals and all that stuff. Glad the country is and all that stuff. But as far as paying attention to it, I just don't have any interest anymore in it.
Jack,
I really don't.
Ironically, we've been really enjoying it, myself and Debbie, as we've been watching it. And prior to obviously the outage and the storms, it was really good. And the men and women between the only thing I think we haven't seen yet is the high jump the long jump. The long jump and the triple jump we haven't seen as of yet. But everything else, like the javelin, the shot put, the 100-meter race with Noah Lyles. What a fantastic finish! So it ended up how it ended up closing out. But I've been enjoying it. Synchronized swimming was cool. The synchronized diving was crazy by China. I mean, it looked like one girl, and you can. The only time you see the second lady is as they're coming out of the. I forget what they call it, but as they're coming out of their fold or whatever you want to say it, you can just barely see the girl's arm on the right side, but they look like mirrors coming down, and they like very little flash of anything. But I've been enjoying it. I think it's been pretty good.
I respect them all. I'm just saying maybe it's a time difference, but yeah, the diving and everything, and look, I did it at a very low level in high school, 1 meter diving board for a year and a half. Or for a year, and then the next year they stopped allowing it because not enough pools had 10 feet of depth. But the 1 year I did, I mean, I holding the tuck or doing, pikes and all that stuff, and there's a lot of other technical terms, but you know what I mean. It's synchronized swimming. It's got to look good. You got to be synchronized. It's one of the hardest things in all the Olympics. I get it. I just don't. And I appreciate that you and Debbie were watching it, and a lot of people I'm sure were. I know Simone fell off the beam yesterday. That's why she didn't get the gold in that particular one. They silvered, but she's phenomenal. I mean, I don't know how anybody says on those things anyway. But the diving stuff and a lot of the Asian, especially China, they're so small. Ladies, it's like I feel like they could do the triple Lindy, better than Rodney Dangerfield could back to school.
Yeah. The other thing I think the big takeaway from this stuff as well is that how is it that people, I always say that people never cease to amaze me, but here we are, obviously competing every single country. I get it. I understand it because that's the whole reason why the Olympics are around. But you can have every person representing their own nation, and you see them laughing and joking, sometimes hugging each other, whatever case may be, congratulating each other because their country be their country, vice versa. Yet we can't seem to get along in the rest of society, which I think cracks me up the most. But it was, like I said, it's been really good. I think it's the competition has definitely gone up a lot. The outfits, the way they're designed now, is even more, I think, surprising than anything else because you have the like pull-up zipper thing now for the men, and it's like super thin fabric, but a lot of it is because of the aerodynamics and everything else. And then the one lady who was on the bike, she showed how they put the 3D images, like the plastic stuff that you can build if you have the printer. And what they did was they did the contours of her legs, her thighs, the muscles, to the shoes that she was wearing in order to make her bodysuit for the bike like super aerodynamic. And when they were showing it on the on TV, you can see where she's riding and how they had the wind, so you can kind of see it. And you can see it going through the fabric. Originally, when they made it, it was doing all these different things, and then finally, it was so freaking smooth. It was she didn't win, but it was nice that she came up with that idea.
Yeah, you mentioned I used to. The one event that I would watch occasionally is the pole vault. And this is the one thing I did see when I was flipping through. I forget what country the guy was from. You see what happened to the pole vault guy 2 days ago?
Yeah.
So he goes, he's over. I mean, he gets it. It's unbelievable. I think he's about to set a record, except he was pretty well endowed below the equator, if you know what I mean. And it knocked the bar off when he was on his way down.
Yep. I don't think fucking.
Imagine that. Your genitals cause you to lose a medal because you're too well endowed. I know, you got to tuck it in. I know you tried, and it was. I've never seen that before. That video went viral. You probably could probably punch it up, but if you do get it. But I'd never seen anything like it. I happened to see the highlight of that a couple of days ago. I was like, oh my God. I thought people were making it up. And then I saw it in slow motion. I'm like, good Lord, man.
Somebody had a real funny thing. Hopefully I can find it, but I have the one video, but I forget who it is. I would have to end up finding it, but someone did have a funny commentary because they make fun of it as much as they possibly can. But let me go back to the video. I did.
All right, well, you're doing that. I'm gonna run down the top 25 from the AFCA coaches poll yesterday, USA Today coaches poll. So I'll go from 1 to 25. So number 1 is Georgia. They got 46 first place votes. Then after this, we'll go through Brett McMurphy's from the Action. Number 2, Ohio State. They got 7 first place votes. Oregon 3, Texas 4. They got 1 first place vote. Number 5, Alabama. Number 6, Ole Miss. Number 7, Notre Dame. They just lost their offensive lineman for the year, one of them. Number 8 is Michigan. Some numbnut gave them a first place vote, which is ridiculous. Number 9 is Penn State. Number 10, Florida State. Number 11, Missouri. Number 12, LSU. Number 13, Utah. Number 14, Clemson. Number 15, the Vols of Tennessee. 16, Oklahoma. Number 17, Kansas State. Number 18, Oklahoma State. Number 19, future national champion, Miami Hurricanes. Number 20, Texas A&M. Number 21, Arizona. Number 22, NC State. Number 23, USC, Lincoln Riley. Will you play any defense this year? Number 24 is Kansas. Number 25, Iowa. Now, also receiving votes, Tim says, go Dogs. Yeah. Just don't let the dogs drive on the road. They're liable to get arrested for something or another. Others receiving votes, Washington just missed. So Iowa had 148 total votes. Washington just misses. They come in at number 26 with 123. Then Louisville and Virginia Tech at 95 and 64 votes respectively. So SMU, Memphis, Boise State, Auburn, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Liberty, Florida makes like the top 35 for now. And again, this is just preseason. The AP poll comes out next week. Did you find something, Angel, or no? It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Oh, you did? Okay. This is that video of the guy pole vaulting.
The guy pole vaulting and his own pole takes out the pole.
Oh.
Unfreaking believable.
Mario Amorati from France. Ouch.
What happened here, Coach Judy?
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Yesterday, the other thing, too, they had, there was one of the, what was I watching on my freaking phone there? So I believe it was a guy who, I forget what sport it was. And it may have been the 100-meter because they had the second round of it. And the one lady was saying that she's, so-and-so, I forget what athlete, it may have been from Australia. And I hear that he is a, whatever the fancy name is for the chiropractor, but a masseuse.
Yeah. Trainer, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, I hear that he's great and blah, blah, blah. I mean, she's going through all his accolades and everything else. And Pacey at the very end was, I would take him on if he would offer it up or something to that crazy nature. I'm like, wow, lady, could you put it out any more of that you would take it up other than that? I'm like, Jesus. But hey.
Yeah. All right, Tim says future champion Hurricanes. How far into the future? Flying cars is always next year. No, Tim, it's going to be this year. They're going to be in the college football playoff. I'll bet anybody anything that they will be in the college football playoff. Because I think their talent, and I'll tell you my reasons why in a minute. And in a minute. Brett McMurphy agrees with me. Okay, so his poll, he has the Oregon Ducks at number 1. As well. His reasoning is of the last 3 coaches at Oregon with double-digit victories in consecutive seasons, Chip Kelly, Mark Helfrich, and Dan Lanning. Lanning is the only one who has not reached the BCS title game or college football playoff, and he believes that will change this season. They have 11 returning starters, top 6 national recruiting class, and transfer quarterback Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma, which is huge. That guy can sling it. And Dante Moore from UCLA, the Ducks should be flying high in 2024. I completely agree. Number 2, he's got the Georgia Bulldogs. Last year, they defeated Florida State in the Orange Bowl. By the way, last year, Oregon defeated Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl. Ho-hum. Georgia, again, opening up against Clemson in Atlanta. Huge game. Then at Alabama, also late September. Home against Auburn. At Texas, October 19th. Home against Florida and the cocktail party, which they won't let you say cocktail party anymore. Ole Miss and then Tennessee highlights their schedule. They missed them last year's playoff. Georgia did by a single loss, but they will not miss the expanded playoff. I would have put Georgia in last year. I've said that a million times. I would have had them in there over Florida State last year. Florida State got the sentimental vote. Carson Beck, Dylan Fairchild, and Malachi Starks among those returning for the Bulldogs. Obviously, they're going to have an awesome team. Ohio State, he's got ranked 3rd. Last year, they lost to Missouri in the Sugar Bowl, but a bunch of people didn't play in that game, obviously. Ryan Day is 56-8 with 6 of the losses to top 3 teams, but 3 of those L's occurred in the last 3 years to Michigan, and it will not be tolerated. I promise you at Ohio State, if they lose to Michigan this year, unless that's their only loss, say, and they go on to win the national championship. Otherwise, you lose 4 in a row. I think Harbaugh lost, 4 in a row during his tenure early on in Michigan. Somehow survived, but Ryan Day will not survive 4 in a row if he loses to Michigan this year. I don't think they will, by the way, but if he does, we'll see. He's got Texas at number 4. They were 12-2 last year. They lost to Washington in the college football playoff semifinal. Under Steve Sarkisian, Texas improved from 5 wins to 8-12 last year. The Longhorns' best season since 2009. Sarkisian grabbed a lot of guys out of the portal. Wide receivers Isaiah Bond, Silas Bolden, Matthew Golden for quarterback Quinn Ewers. So they are going to have a very formidable team. There's no doubt about it. Number 5, just not used to seeing this. Number 5, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Same as the coaches poll, by the way. So you got Alabama, number 5. They open up, they're part of the tough schedule. They lost to Michigan in the college football playoff semifinal last year. That's where I said Saban might have had, I think, one of his worst coach games, at least in a playoff atmosphere. I didn't understand. There was not a lot of adjustments there. I'm not taking anything away from Michigan, but he tried so hard to run the ball down their throats, and I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway, some highlights for Alabama's schedule. September 14th at Washington, home against Georgia on the 28th at Tennessee. New coach, Kalen DeBoer, coming over, and defensively they're going to be fine, and we'll see offensively what's going to happen here. He's 104-12, by the way, including 2 magical seasons with Washington last couple of years, 25-3. But don't worry, Alabama's going to be in the thick of this thing. The Mississippi Rebels with Lane Kiffin, they beat Penn State last year in the Peach Bowl. They finished at 11-2. They return a whole bunch of talent and even more from the transfer portal. So look for the Mississippi Rebels. I mean, it's so tough in the SEC. It's just a bloodbath every week. Number 7 is the Penn State Nittany Lions. They finished 10-3 last year. They lost to Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl. So with them, some of the highlights that Brett points out, Coach Franklin has had a successful run. 10 seasons. It's hard to believe. He's been there for 10 years at Penn State. He's finished every year with a winning record and bowl trip except for the COVID 2020 season, plus 5 New Year's Six Bowls, including 2 Rose Bowls. But he's got to find a way to beat Michigan and Ohio State, which he hasn't been able to do. He struggled against both of those schools, so much so that the Big Ten Media Days, Franklin mentioned 3 times in 15-minute press conference where Penn State wins 10 or 11 games, people are unhappy because they can't beat Ohio State and Michigan. I think that could change this year, at least against Michigan. Number 8, he has my Miami Hurricanes. in this one. They finished 7-6 last year, but it was like, for what happened. They should have been 5-0, and things would have changed. The Georgia Tech game really stuck out. However, Mario Cristobal, remember this, in his third season at Oregon, his second year as the Ducks head coach, Oregon won 12 games, the Pac-12 title, the Rose Bowl, and can he duplicate that in year 3 with Miami? I believe he can. They signed the best recruiting class in 15 years. Next year's is even better. The offensive and defensive line both being among the nation's best in the country. And, of course, they got Cam Ward from Washington State and running back Damian Martinez from Oregon State. You couldn't ask for two better transfer portal guys, two of the best at their position. Cam Ward has already been named ACC preseason player of the year. And, Martinez, related to, is that your cousin, Angel? Damian had an unbelievable year last year at Oregon State. Phenomenal. So clearly the Hurricanes are going to be in it. They should be, talent-wise, and a big test right out of the gate, August 31st in the Swamp against Florida. Notre Dame is 9th there. They've got a lot of defensive talent returning, including tackles Howard Cross III, Riley Mills, linebacker Jake Kaiser, safety Xavier Watts, but they did just lose an offensive lineman whose name escapes me at the moment. And then number 10 is got the Utah Utes. And there he finished 8-5 last year, lost to Northwestern in the Las Vegas Bowl. So after moving from the Mountain West to the Pac-12 in 2011, the Utes have had a winning record in conference play in 9 of their 13 years. And now it's off to the Big 12, where Utah was voted the preseason favorite. All right, the rest of it has got Kansas State at 11, Oklahoma State at 12, Clemson at 13, Missouri at 14, Florida State at 15, Oklahoma at 16, and Michigan at 17, Tennessee at 18, Iowa 19, LSU 20, the A&M Aggies at 21, USC at 22, Iowa State at 23, Virginia Tech at 24, and the Kansas Jayhawks at 25. So that's Brett McMurphy. So I've actually reached out to him. I'm going to try to get him on at some point this week. If not the end of this week, then certainly early next week, because I really love his stuff. He's great breaking all this stuff in college football. So any thoughts on that? 727-858-6650. And he tweets out, he's like, let's give you the exact quote, because these things, he's a little more in tune than a lot of other people are when they start to make these polls. But he says, my preseason AP top 25 ballot from number 1 Oregon to number 25 Kansas. Thanks in advance for agreeing with me on every team and where they're ranked. As an added bonus, I listed the next best 15, my top 40. Incredible. I know. Enjoy. So no matter what, I'm sure people will be outraged that my Hurricanes, in his belief, are 8th, but his reasoning is sound. There's no question about it. And I do think they have a great shot to win the ACC this year. And it's, Florida State and Clemson, obviously it's going to be between those 3 teams. NC State is somewhat of a dark horse, but they're already a preseason top 25 team as well. All right. Next hour coming up at 8:15, we'll have the Red Sox Report brought to you by Moynihan Lumber. At the bottom of the next hour, Mia O'Brien from 1010 XL covers the Jaguars and the host of Helmets and Heels. Great show up there in Jacksonville. She will join us live from Jacksonville camp via video. And when we come back, we will get into the latest from the NFL, all the camp news you could want, and lots more. All part of the Pete Shepard Show here on a Tuesday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Andersen windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Andersen windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Pete Shepard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Welcome back. It's hour number 2 of the Pete Shepard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. It's Tuesday, August 6th. How's everybody doing today? Thanks, everybody. Where did it go? Oh, my little cheat notes got blown under my laptop. Anyway, thanks for listening to us on across the Coastal Sports Network video platform at Twitter, X. Follow me at PShep326. My blue check mark was taken away. Angel probably had a little theory about that. It's coming back tomorrow, by the way. They reevaluated a whole bunch of I don't know why, reconfirming that I'm not some psycho from a crazy country wanting to do stupid things. Follow me on Facebook, SR1029thegame.com, powered by Ion TV. CSN Florida, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube. Call or text the show as well, 727-858-6650. So, Angel, yeah, you had a theory about why I have been profiled by Twitter again. The first time I could understand it a little bit, I just made a correction in one. If you switch a phone number, anything that's in your profile, they will take the blue check mark away and verify everything. You could change a digit, one digit or one letter, and they'll do that. But you had another theory as to why I've been profiled again.
Yeah, because they're so, as much as obviously Elon is trying to do everything he possibly can to keep people off, especially now because of, you guys know it's election time, and they're trying to take as many people that are fake accounts off. And so what they do is they're screening a lot of the accounts, and if there's something that they find in there, a keyword or something else, they will take it away, but then end up putting it back. And sometimes it's a little bit, sometimes it's quick. They'll notice like, oh, wait a minute, this person, they're a premium subscriber. And then other times they'll forget all about it. So unfortunately, because of the bots, they're sneaky enough to get certified by their premium blue check mark. But now they've gone back through and started scrubbing a lot of the accounts again. And so that's kind of one of two reasons why the stuff, the way it's been happening. But I'm pretty sure, like everything else, you'll end up getting it back sooner rather than later. But yeah, he's just been trying to scrub as many bot accounts, because there's a lot of times, everybody knows this, you'll get some random person, I don't care if it's a male or female, and they'll follow like 6,000 people, only one person follows them, and they have nothing posted up there. And it's just because they're just trying to clickbait you. That's the big thing.
Awesome. I just came across something. Well, I'll get to that in a second. I just saw a video. Somebody posted it on the Today Years Old Twitter page. Actually, I want to, if you can punch that up, Angel, real quick. And it is Olga Korbut back in 1972. And I mean, she was legendary gymnast. And I want people to see, this is the only thing maybe, we all remember what Nadia Comaneci did back in the day as well. And the great theme song that was played on the radio in the 70s that I think reached #1, one of the few instrumentals that ever got there. There's also the theme on The Young and the Restless for soap opera for many, many years. But you got to see this video. This is, it's called the band. This move is actually banned now. You're banned from the store. It's called the dead loop. This is Olga Korbut back in 1972. It was the first and last time the trick was documented. Wait till you see this. It's absolutely freaking amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah. How in the world, at the end when she dismounts, did you flip over to low bar and then she lands it like, it's just another thing I do.
I'm speechless. I was 5 years old when this Olympics happened, and I don't remember seeing this. But my God, I mean, I know her reputation. I know what she was, how outstanding she was. It's just that's like the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life. Wow. I mean, that is just unbelievable.
Comes around the bar and then stands on the bar to leap on the lower one. It's just, and I think the big thing with me was a lot of the Olympians and the athletes is that you have, how in the world they wrap their waist around where the legs kick around and then bounce back almost like a rubber band. There's got to be, after so many years, I mean, you're constantly practicing a style like this damn near on a daily basis, but holy moly's, man.
But again, this was the first and last time that this trick was documented. So you got to, the dead loop, Olga Korbut back in 1972. You got to figure, though, even back then, Angel, as corrupt as some of the judging was in some sports and everything else. I mean, that's a perfect 10 to me. I'm sure she got a perfect 10. But the judges had to go, well, we've never seen this before. What the hell is that? What do you call that? If that's the first and last time that trick was documented. I mean, I find it hard to believe that even in the 3 years leading up to the 72 Olympics, from the late 60s to early 70s, if any gymnast, or if they did do it, I can't imagine judges been like, what is that? It's actually called the dead loop. But I have a feeling those judges didn't even know what's coming. They're like, how do we, whatever she did was flawless, but what do we call it? How do we do it? I mean, I'm blown away. That's just crazy. Before we get to NFL stuff, Angel, last week when we played, we had Colin Jost from the surfer,
Yeah.
the reporter, who's also on Saturday Night Live and married to Scarlett Johansson, as Peanut Gallery just pointed out to me again. I always forget that he worked for Saturday Night Live. Do we have that video still stored anywhere of him in that report? We don't have to. Don't look it up if you don't. If you don't have it, don't even worry about it. Colin Jost, COLINJOST. He's married to the lovely Scarlett Johansson. Does Weekend Update for Saturday Night Live, and did that surfing video where we told you he cut his foot on the reef. It was kind of funny. We don't have to play the whole video either, Angel. I wanted to play some of it where it gets a little. He's trying to do a report. He's in obvious pain. He's in obvious pain because he also surfs, and the surfing did not take place in France. Obviously, it was 10,000 miles away in Tahiti, or thousands of miles away in Tahiti. And then afterwards, he tried to do a report on NBC or CNBC or something, and went through the details of him not only being a reporter, but also was a surfer, not just casual surfing. Yes, that's it. So here it is. I'm going to play part of it.
Joining us now is the man who got the assignment, because what we're not going to do is call it a job if you can show up with no shoes to work. Live from Tahiti is SNL's Colin Jost. And first question is, how do you feel about getting the assignment?
Oh, I feel great, Maria, and I apologize that we were a little delayed getting to you. You're not going to believe it based on this yard full of chickens, but we had some technical difficulties. This job has been absolutely a total joy. There are some obstacles that I did not anticipate. For example, before you came to me, I had gotten some open wounds on my foot from hitting the coral reef. And I actually have been walking in place in this yard because if I stand still, ants begin crawling inside the wounds, which was, not something I anticipated. I'm apparently going to a medical tent after this, which is very exciting. Also, earlier I was talking to Mike Tirico in the water where I was standing, and while I started talking to him, someone came by and talked to one of our producers and said, "Hey, what's he doing in there? Doesn't he know there are stonefish right there?" Yesterday, someone was there, stepped on one, and it was so poisonous he had to be medevaced off the island. They withheld that information from me until the interview was concluded.
Okay. So you might be the only person in the world.
Maria Taylor, who's awesome. She used to be at ESPN. Beautiful, lovely, talented Maria Taylor. So the reason why I played that is according to Reuters, NBC sent him home.
Really?
Because he developed a staph infection on his foot from all of this. So on the reef that cut his foot, and then the ants eating at his foot, he's developed a staph infection. In the wake of Jost's departure, NBC tapped Australian weatherman and radio broadcaster and surfer Luke Brandon to take his spot. He was already there covering it. So anyway, poor Scarlett Johansson has to get in bed with this guy that has a staph infection on his foot after he cut it on the coral reef in Tahiti, and then ants eating at the infection. Probably made it worse with the staph infection. So he got sent home. So wishing Colin Jost all the luck in the world. Jesus, that's unbelievable. Oh my God!
Well, did you also hear too that the swimmers that decided to go inside that freaking nasty water? There's been at least about 10 to 15 now that have had issues and all kinds of freaking health, and they're expecting a lot more. Listen, again, God bless these athletes, but if I get to a place where they tell me, there's a strong likelihood you're probably not going to feel good in about 2 or 3 days afterwards, and you can possibly get a really bad ear infection if you never had one before in your life, and you get one for the first time, it's horrendous. I'm sorry, but one of those things, be like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to have to take a hard pass. There's no way in the world that can happen. And then you also have the surfers that they have to go 10,000 miles away in Tahiti. And I feel bad for them because like yesterday when they were trying to ride the waves,
Yeah.
A lot of them have to sit out there for almost 10 minutes before like their first wave even forms. It's not like you go to Hawaii for the competitions here and you get massive waves, or even in the Atlantic Ocean. Nope. It's like this little wave and it takes about 20 minutes, and when it forms, it's like boop, it's over.
Yeah, you're lucky. You need some inclement weather. You need, for the set to come in, the set of waves to come in. I don't know if it's just a lull in Tahiti at the time or whatever. Like you said, I haven't been watching it. I used to. I like watching surfing, but yeah, I guess you're at the mercy of God. I mean, you're at the mercy of the elements, Mother Nature, I should say. Yeah, God, whatever. Because if it's just one of those days where it's calm, clear day, the biggest wave you may get is a 3-footer. Who the hell knows? I'm not sure how they judge a competition, how long you have to be out there, or whatever. But yeah, I guess. I'm not sure how the judging works. Just want to be safe. But Colin Giles sent home with a staph infection after that report last week. Jesus. That's terrible. And I don't know how anybody would. Look, I can understand. Look, if you, Angel, I mean, if you were trained in a triathlon like that, if it were Olympics and you were, one of the best in the world, and all of a sudden, even though it was said they had no backup plan, they had a backup plan for the marathon people, but not the triathletes, or vice versa, whatever it was, which I did not understand that. But the fact that they wouldn't let them swim initially, and then all of a sudden, somebody blinked or did something, or said abracadabra, and all of a sudden the send was at least tolerable. Well, it's not. But if you were in that position, Angel, you would probably say, I'll take my chances. I've trained my ass off for the last few years of my life to get to this spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to let a little coli, get in the way of my medals or potential medals. So, I mean, I get it, but I'm not surprised there's not more, to be honest with you. I'm not surprised, considering the E. coli bacteria that the Olympic Committee said was there. And they tested it the day of last week before one of the triathlons or whatever it was. And lo and behold, it was tolerable. So they say tolerable.
Yeah, it's freaking disgusting. I'm sorry. There's nothing tolerable at all, period, for me to be able to jump in and be like, oh, yeah, no, I love this stuff. Are you kidding me? Give me more. There's no freaking way.
All right, let's get to some NFL news, Angel, if we go to Total Sports Prep. But before that, Mike Reese updating the story, covers the Patriots for ESPN. The San Francisco 49ers now willing to listen to trade offers for Brandon Ayuk and have given the star wide receiver permission to negotiate a contract with other teams. The 49ers did not have the same willingness to listen to trade offers at the start of training camp, so this represents a significant change in San Francisco's stance. The Patriots and Cleveland Browns both have been in contact with the Niners and are interested in trading for Ayuk. The Pittsburgh Steelers also were interested, but barring a change, do not appear to be a potential trade destination any longer. So there you have it. That is the update there. Actually, Angel, on my bad, because it's 8:15, we have to get to the Red Sox report. So if you could, my man, if you could scroll up on Total Sports Prep to the Red Sox and Kansas City Royals last night, where the Red Sox are really playing some very good baseball again. They won 9-5. I'll give you all the highlights in just a second as I get organized here, because there's so many things going on. So we could scroll down to MLB, because I want to get to the Red Sox and then play some stuff from the White Sox yesterday. And then we'll have Miguel O'Brien on, and then I will go back. I promise we'll do a whole bunch more football besides the Jaguars coming up. Trust me, before 10 o'clock. So James Paxton, remember, he gave up 6 runs his first start out against the top, but only 3 were earned. He got screwed. He pitched very well yesterday, the second start since being reacquired by the Red Sox, going 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 4, and walked 1. But so the Red Sox win 9-5, and let's see, they were down 2-0 in this game until Cedeno Rafaela came up. It's the first cut, Angel, in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Big switch. This is driven in the air to center field. Rafaela darts back on the move at the wall. Oh, man! St. Don did it! Wow.
Even the Kansas City Royals fans here on their feet, clapping for the kid. Watch the route, almost overruns it to left, corrects himself. Not just a normal jump. Watch his body spin to take the impact on the shoulder instead of his face. What a play.
Great job. And the output of the game was tied at 2 at that time. By the way, the Red Sox Report is brought to you by Moynihan Lumber. Check out their complete line of Anderson windows and doors at any of their 3 locations in Beverly and North Reading, Massachusetts, and Plastow, New Hampshire. Moving on to the top of the 7th, Romy Gonzalez with this absolute bomb. Cut number 3. Thanks to Nesson.
Lead is 4, the 2-0. Romy swings, strikes it well. Left center field is bells back, and it's gone.
Yeah, thanks to Nesson for that one. Red Sox go on to win 9-5. They only trail the Royals now by a game and a half for that final wild card spot. Boston catcher Connor Wong said Paxton was exactly who the Red Sox thought they were getting in the trade. Said he was outstanding. Brady Singer, 8-7, allowed 4 runs on 10 hits for the Royals in 5 2/3. He has not done very well against the Red Sox in his career. So let's see. Back in the training room, outfielder Tyler O'Neill, who missed the Sox last 2 games with an illness, was not on the lineup. Alex Cora said he was feeling better, but not great. The Red Sox and Royals play the second game of the 3-game set tonight. The Red Sox will send right-handed pitcher Brian Bayo to the mound. He's 10-5 with a misleading 5.13 ERA to face right-handed pitcher Seth Lugo, who is an excellent starter for the Royals, 13-5, 2.57 ERA. So there you have it. There's a Red Sox report. They win 9-5 yesterday over Kansas City. The Red Sox report brought to you by Moynihan Lumber. Check out their complete line of Anderson windows and doors at any of their 3 locations in Beverly, North Reading, and Plastow, New Hampshire. Meanwhile, Angel, if we could scroll up to the White Sox. The White Sox and the A's yesterday. And here's the end of the game. It says White Sox tie American League record, 21st consecutive loss. This is how it sounded. NBC Sports, California.
Swing and a miss. And Tyler Ferguson closes the door on the White Sox in Game 1. That's 21 consecutive losses for Chicago. That ties the 1988 Baltimore Orioles. J.P. Sears gets the win. The A's deal the White Sox a tough blow. That's tied for the longest streak in American League history.
And let's scroll up to the cut above that. Chicago White Sox legend Frank Thomas had his take on the entire managerial situation. This is for NBC Sports Chicago.
You know what I would say as a manager if I lost 21 in a row?
What?
Get out of my office. I know I just lost 21 in a row. Kick the door, get you out of here. That's where I'm at right now. I'm snapping.
Yeah.
It's time to snap.
Yeah.
That's the only way we can get through the players right now. Snap.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I don't want to hear no more we're trying, no more, they're working hard every day. No, it's time to snap. It's time to kick over the spread. It's time to let people know this is the big leagues. It's hard to get here, but it's easy to get out of here. Okay? That's what I would do as a manager. Sorry.
Yes.
It's at that point.
Yeah.
21 in a row, I'm not being nice.
Point. This point was 2 weeks ago.
Kick the door, slam the door, get out of here. I'm tired of answering questions. We lost 21 we're the laughing stock of baseball. You think I don't know that? Got to end that conversation.
All right, let's scroll up to the top. Not the top, the first cut as the A's came, were up 1-0. White Sox tied it at 1, and then it was all Oakland in the end. They won 5-1. So here's AJ Pierzynski on the credit, the Bottle Territory podcast. AJ Pierzynski on White Sox possible managerial options.
Everyone's like, oh, Pedro Grifol. I mean, sure. I mean, he's not doing, listen, he's doing the best job I guess he can. But if you have the players you have, and then you trade away your 5 best players that you still think are on the roster, and you don't really get any big league help back. I guess Miguel Vargas was your one guy you got back to help. Man, let me tell you, it's going to be a long road back unless they spend money, which they're not going to do. So Who wants that job? I mean, I've heard Tito Francona. Listen, Tito Francona ain't taking that job.
No way.
I guarantee him you're going to spend a lot of money, and the White Sox aren't going to spend a lot of money. I mean, Ozzie says, I don't want the job. Bull bleep. He wants that job. He's wanted that job since the day he went to Miami, and he knows he made a mistake when he went to Miami.
Yeah, no question about it. There's no way. Terry Francona is just health-wise, who I love to death. He's just not. He's had circulation problems for the last decade, basically, if not longer. So his managerial days are over. Anyway, all right, quick break. Now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the NFL. 21 straight losses by the Chicago White Sox. God almighty. That is unbelievable. All right, Mia O'Brien will join us next from Jaguars camp in Jacksonville. We'll get the lay of the land from her and see what's going on in Jacksonville. And then we'll come back and do a whole bunch of NFL camp sound as well. All part of the Pete Shepard Show here on a Tuesday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Andersen windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Andersen windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, IonTP.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Do you want the best in sports and entertainment? You got it. Now back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
Back here at the Pete Shepherd Show on the Coastal Sports Network. I know I promised from you, O'Brien, at 8:30. That was my bad. I looked at it's 9:30 this morning. She will join us. 9:30 this morning. So That's my bad for putting it out there like an idiot. I misread. I have so many guests coming on in the next few days, and it's definitely 9:30. So if you're listening to me, I apologize. It's my bad. I'm sure she's at practice. I want to make sure she's okay as well, because I had to go indoors yesterday in Jacksonville, obviously, due to Hurricane Debbie. So I'll tell you what we'll do, Angel. We'll just get right to Total Sports Prep, and we'll start going through some of this NFL sound from camps leading up to media coming up next hour. But there's a lot to talk about here. Let me see. Let me scroll up. Hang on. What else we got here? Okay, and we'll get to more college football news a little bit later on. But let's get some of this stuff. Let me see. Do I have any video I want to play from the NFL? If not, we'll just have some great sound cuts. Once again, from our friends at Total Sports Prep, and I'll get to that in a second. Let me see. Okay. Now we'll just. Oh, by the way, there's going to be FX. By the way, is releasing American Sports Story, Aaron Hernandez by Ryan Murphy on September 17th. This is Josh Riviera. Do I know who he is? He'll be playing Aaron Hernandez, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's son Patrick is going to play Tim Tebow. Angel, how about that? So, I mean, we've already seen the incredible documentary. They've already had a Netflix special about this, and ESPN's done a big 30 for 30 thing. But this will be really interesting as well. See how this is. I'm sure it's going to get great reviews. I have a feeling. The American Sports Story, Aaron Hernandez by Ryan Murphy. That'll be released on September 17th. All right, Angel, if we could. Let's get to some NFL stuff. By the way, Harrison Butler for the Chiefs yesterday became the highest paid kicker, $6.4 million per season. And but for a woman, you should stay home and stay barefoot and pregnant. Meanwhile, did I misrepresent him? I don't know. All right, let's start with Chicago backup quarterback Tyson Bagent talking about what DJ Moore means to the Bears locker room.
He's the best receiver in the world. So, I mean, I've never seen anybody like it. Awesome, funny dude, full of energy, full of life. Great, good little family. He's got 2 little kids, and whenever you see them around, they obviously love out of him. So, seeing him get extended, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. Dude's an amazing wide receiver and turns into a running back when he gets the ball. So, what more could you ask?
Super Bowl. All right, next cut down, Cincinnati quarterback Joey Burrow and his relationship with his teammates and wide receiver Jamar Chase. This is from Sirius XM.
Right? That's why you come to work. That's why you enjoy coming to work. You build relationships that last forever. You build friends that you're going to be friends with for the rest of your life and people you stay in contact with. That's, at the end of the day, that's why I do what I do. That's why I've always worked so hard, because it's fun going to work every day with your friends.
We can all see Jamar's immense physical talent. Tell us something about him that the average fan wouldn't recognize, or that maybe he doesn't get enough credit for.
I think he's really smart. If you talk about something, you tell him something one time, maybe he doesn't do something exactly the way he's supposed to. The next time he's going to do it right. And that's something that's really rare. Not a lot of guys can take what we install and what we talk about in meeting rooms and put it on the field immediately, and he's one of these guys.
Rick says, I was all prepared for me, and now Pete must take a timeout. Yeah, it's my bad. It's just I looked at my phone wrong, and I should have put 9:30 instead of 8:30. It has nothing to do with me. This is all on me. She will join us at 9:30, though, as well. All right, next up, Denver head coach Sean Payton, Angel, praises Zach Wilson's calmness. This is from the Broncos webpage.
I thought he had some good snaps today, and even on Saturday, I see a guy who is pretty savvy with his snaps. You know, you never feel a panic, so there's a calmness to him. He made a few really good throws today, and I would say a little bit of his patience, you know, play to play.
Boy, that sounds really confident.
Yeah.
It's the same guy that was seeing ghosts against Belichick's defense a few years ago. Okay, Zach, you stink. NFL also, all right, next cut down. DeMarco Ryans, the Houston Texans head coach, on practicing with Cleveland this week.
We're excited to be here, hanging out in Cleveland, being able to get away. You know, first off, get away from the heat for a little bit. So I think our guys appreciate, you know, this weather and this climate, being able to be here. So it's a really great facility here. Thankful for University School for allowing us to utilize their fields.
Wonderful. Two down from that, if we could go to Kansas City, Mecole Hardman talking about has a Patrick Star tattoo.
All right, here with Mecole Hardman walking up the mountain. And Mecole, would you rather be lost in space or lost at sea?
Oh, whoa, like lost in sea as in like...
You're like Tom Hanks, just lost at sea.
No, lost in space.
Lost in space, why?
Because the sea is scary. Space, I feel like I might can, make friends out there if I grew on to some aliens or something like that.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I do.
Do you have any ghost experiences?
I believe in ghosts when you have like sleep paralysis, so I think them be ghosts.
If you played a sport other than football, what would it be?
Basketball. I'm a hooper.
Were there any Nickelodeon shows you loved growing up?
Rocket Power, my favorite Nickelodeon show. Then SpongeBob, of course.
What's your favorite SpongeBob episode?
Oh, that's tough. There's so many of them.
Or character, how about that?
Oh, Patrick.
Patrick Star?
I got Patrick tatted on me, bro.
What is this? Is this like Super Bowl week at Radio Row when every nitwit comes in and asks questions? Oh, it's entertaining for us. I know. I don't mind questions like that. Just, I don't know. It seems a little bizarre to me. Speaking of bizarre, the next cut down, Jim Harbaugh, and another weird question. He ranks animals.
You respect chickens now, right?
Correct.
So what flipped the switch for you?
Getting chickens, raising chickens from chicks, and the respect I have for chickens. I mean, I really, you probably got to put bees a little bit above, above chickens.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're in the same ballpark. Huh?
Why bees above chickens?
Because they pollinate probably 80% of the world's food.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, people are going to look at this and go, "This guy's weird or something."
No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from part of my take. No, I'm more interested in the video that we played earlier. Maybe we'll play it again, not now, but later on, when he did the old Richard Nixon "I am not a crook" speech yesterday at Chargers practice, when talked about the allegations against Michigan, which I think is going to happen. If anything, they get a slap on the wrist or something. All right, the next cut down, see if we can beat that. Antonio Pierce from the Raiders explains the message he's delivering to his team for the upcoming season.
What is that mantra? What is that motto for the 2024 Raiders?
Yeah, well, if I don't want to go that far. If I can stay in training camp, for right now, for us, it's U2. U squared. I told these guys, man, most times say you plus you. No, you times you. Does that make sense? I need to
No.
Let's stop taking these baby steps. I know everybody says, "I'll go through the process." How about we take that leap? How we make a true leap to that next step, right? Even when we used to run stairs when we trained, right? We had every stair. Ooh. Every once in a while, when you start skipping them bad boys, you felt a different burn, right? It made you uncomfortable, created a little anxiety. I said, listen, man, I want our team to get used to being uncomfortable. I want us to not be afraid to make those leaps and bounds, because being average for so long is old.
Yeah.
It's old, and we're done with that. We're done with that.
I don't think you are. But we'll see. Oh, one of my favorite sound bites of all time always comes from Mike McDaniel, head coach of the Miami Dolphins. He's on Sirius XM NFL radio, talking about their desire to get a win in the postseason for the organization and their fans, Angel.
Probably 60% of our team right now, of our 90-man roster, wasn't a part of last year's team. I'm certain 100% of the players on our team weren't here for 24 years. Yet, we are gifted with a tremendous opportunity of bringing a fan base a reward that's 24 years old. And although every player has only, been here since April or this offseason, or maybe 1 year, 2 years, all the way up to Durham Smythe, this is all collectively it's our identities that we're bringing together as this team, as this Dolphins team, and we have the opportunity to do something really, really memorable to make this year of our lives super impactful in the whole grand scheme of our legacies and all of that.
Okay.
Right. I mean, I think take out the 24 years, and every coach wants someone to play. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, Coach Mike. Whatever you say. You certainly have a talented team, at least offensively. There is no doubt about that. But let's just see if you can get a playoff win. All right. Below that is the Giants' Brian Burns on hearing Daniel Jones was involved in a scrum. It happened yesterday.
I know you're on the other field, but what do you think or when you hear that your quarterback is in the middle of one of those stuff?
Oh, Lord. Daniel got jiggy with it. Daniel was out there with it? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to need him to back up. Yeah, I'm going to need him to back up. Let his O-line handle that. But, Daniel, he's a competitor, man. He's a fighter, so I don't expect nothing less from him, but I don't need him in that. I don't need him to get hit. Yeah, keep him healthy.
Yeah, that was the Giants' practice yesterday in East Rutherford with the Detroit Lions. They saw everything. Daniel Jones incited a scuffle. It is especially notable considering Jones coming off the ACL surgery late last year, wasn't fully cleared for football until days before the start of camp. But according to ESPN's Jordan Rhiannon, who covers the Giants, Jones, starting quarterback, from taking off offense to center Greg Van Roten getting pushed into the ground after a play by Lions defensive lineman Alan McNeil. Jones came over and shoved McNeil in the back and sparks a scrum. So great to see Daniel Jones trying his best. Just got a text from Rick Horrell. Okay, he's getting on a plane now and leaving France, and we're going to meet up next week. Okay, meanwhile, Daniel Jones next cut down on getting involved in that skirmish. Thanks for SNY Giants for this.
Involved a little bit there in the skirmish earlier in practice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Situation happens like that. You try to stand up for your guys, but I thought it was good competitive practice all day today, and we made some plays and did some good things. There's some things we need to shore up for sure, but it's good, good intensity and competitive spirit today.
Was that that was Daniel Jones?
See.
Okay, let's scroll two down because it sounded like Aaron Rodgers. There's Aaron Rodgers discussed how they want to raise the standard in the New York for the Jets. This is from Sirius XM.
It comes down to, do we want to set a little bar that we can step over that we're so excited about?
little bitty bar.
Put the bar at a level of excellence and try and reach that. Not a level of perfection, because that's not realistic. Nobody wants to do that. Then you just kind of beat yourself down because you didn't accomplish this idea of perfection. But greatness, competitive greatness shows up every single day and knows Some days my best is not going to be good enough, but that wasn't our best out there today. So we got to, but that's the way camp is. The coaches love it, though, I swear. You have a day like this, it's fantastic. They have to do their job. Now we're going to go in here an hour and watch this film, and they get to coach it up and be like, hey, we should have done this here, and we should have done this, and come on, this wasn't good enough. They love it. So we love it. As an older player, too, it's great because you want these days. If it was beautiful every single day, you wouldn't have you wouldn't have those anchor points to be like, hey, remember that day in camp, it was a little bit low energy. We had this going, this happened, this, stuff to go back to. I think it's so important for young players to have those opportunities to go, oh yeah, this play happened on this day, on that Monday after the tough scrimmage. So we need days like this. This is what kind of brings us together in the end.
Whatever you say, Aaron, whatever you say. Meanwhile, his head coach, Robert Saleh, discusses how Hassan Reddick's absence will affect the start of the year.
Does there come a point where if he's not in camp, it's going to impact the kind of role or playing time he's going to have in the regular season? Even just conditioning?
I don't know, because there's examples of players who, like Aaron Donald, Chris Jones a couple of years ago didn't show up till week 1, and they did just fine. So, when you get to that stage in your career, I don't have the right answer for you on that one.
For you as a coaching staff, not having that hands-on time with him, will that make it harder if it does linger on to kind of prepare for week 1? And how do you accept that challenge or manage that challenge?
We always, there's players come and go all the time, and unfortunately, you're always having to make adjustments on the fly. But I'll say it again, it's not the easiest position, but the last position that I'm worried about getting caught up to speed.
Okay. Meanwhile, we scroll a couple down. Pete Schrager from Good Morning Football on NFL Network talks about Patrick Mahomes being number 4 on the NFL top 100 players list.
Well, Tyreek is so deserving because of what he does. I've talked to defensive coordinators over the last few years, and it's like he's one of the only players you lose sleep over because there's absolutely no way to stop him. And yet, come on, what are we talking about here?
What do you mean? We're talking about Tyreek number 1.
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
I know the NFL Network is trying to get some clicks. I know the NFL Network's trying to make some ratings here. I get the game. What are we talking about here? Patrick Mahomes is the greatest player in the NFL. He's been the greatest player in the NFL. There is no reason to even do this list anymore. Just put Mahomes 1. I don't care when it was recorded, when it was done, when it was voted on. Mahomes is a killer, and this is only going to give him more motivation. What's crazy about this, and Jamie, you alluded to it, not only is Mahomes the 4th-ranked player on this thing, they have another quarterback ranked above him. They have another. This is the 2nd time Lamar Jackson's been ranked above Patrick Mahomes. This is the 2nd time Lamar Jackson has won an MVP over Patrick Mahomes. I'll just say this. I'm watching this over the weekend. I had to do a video on Twitter. I had to post it. I don't know why we do this. They don't need more motivation. They don't need an extra. If there was anything that could get in the Chiefs' way this year, the thing that could get in the Chiefs' way this year is that they would take it for granted and they would just cakewalk into the AFC Championship game and they would do what they would do and they would win an Arrowhead or they'd win on the road, and you know what? They've got the experience. You needed more motivation for Patrick Mahomes? This is ludicrous. I love Tyreek Hill. I like Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey as players as well. Why do we even do the list? As long as he's playing in the league, Patrick Mahomes is number 1. I don't need to watch a week of buildup and then this crazy spoiler at the end. What are we doing here? The 6th sense? What are we talking about?
Excuse me. I'll sneeze on that. This stuff, I never get carried away with these stupid rankings. Who cares?
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is the reigning MVP. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's got a 99, one of the only 99s in Madden, if that means anything to anybody. Who cares? The difference between 1 and 4 and how they put together all the numbers, I don't give a darn about that kind of nonsense. So that's the stuff that gets people on talk shows. They have nothing else to talk about. We'll talk about that for 4 hours. I think it's boring as hell. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Well, does it really matter? And do you think Patrick Mahomes is going to use that as motivation? You think he really needs to see that stupid list to be motivated? Pete, Pete Schrager, you're a little off with that. All right, let's head to Philadelphia, where Angels-Eagles. Cornerback Isaiah Rodgers on his opportunities during training camp.
Isaiah, so great to see you back inside the building. How are you feeling about some of the opportunities you're getting over there at the cornerback position?
I'm very blessed. I'm just embracing the moment right now and appreciative of, just every opportunity I'm getting, making every play count and not really counting the plays. So just really having fun out here.
What did you do when you were away from the facility to stay in shape, get your body ready?
I built a gym at my house, and I was just working out a lot, but not really lifting a lot of crazy weight, just lifting to stay in shape. And so when this moment came, I'll be prepared and really just running around my old high school and playing with old friends, a pickup ball, and just staying in shape and just using the football mannerisms throughout the day.
Walk me through that pickup games. Are these just random guys? These are not NFL players?
Nah, everybody was in the season when I was home, so it was a lot of high school friends and just a lot of homeboys back home and just really just having fun, still just enjoying the love of the game.
To play in NFL stadiums and then to play back with your high school friends, pickup football, what sort of appreciation do you walk away with for this game now?
I treat these practices like games. I'm really just having fun and understanding that I lost it all, and that's one feeling that I never want to have again. So just realizing that, my time is now and just never want to go back to that stage that I was in my life.
Wishing you the best of luck. We love a good comeback story. Thank you, Isaiah.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again to NFL Network. We're there. Let's scroll down. Next one. No running back for the Eagles this year. Saquon Barkley. Sorry, Giants. On being resilient throughout his career and that shaping him to become the person he is today.
Saquon, how interesting is it for you? Interesting is that you've had so far in the NFL to go from wearing the blue to putting on the green.
Yeah, I'm going to year 7. It's crazy to even say that out loud. It's flying by, but I guess that's what happens when you're having fun, and I'm super excited to be here. And right now, my main focus is coming to camp, trying to get better every single day, 1% better every single day. So we come out here and have a heck of a year.
How would you describe your journey so far?
I love it because there's been so many good, so many bad. Had to face through adversity. I think my football career has helped shape me become a better person, a better man, a better father, and everything in between. So it's been a blessing. Every single day I get to come out here, put on pads, and play a kid's game and get paid a lot of money for it. So I'm living a dream.
What'd you learn about yourself through some of this adversity?
Injuries. I learned how to battle back. I learned how to went from being really confident to losing my confidence, how to fight back and gain my confidence. I went through life. Everyone having different scenarios, and mine's happen on the football field. So you live from it, you learn from it, you grow, and you continue to get better.
Obviously, you've seen this Kellen Moore offense playing against the Dallas Cowboys. How excited are you to be a part of it, and what do you think stands out about it so far?
I think it's amazing to be a part of it. Not only just working with Kellen, but everyone on staff, and then also being here with all the guys, playing against them the last 6 years, and actually, being able to be here and see them up close and personal and go to work with them. And the things that stand out is I think he did a really good job of explaining information, and I think we're doing a really good job of taking information and using it and processing it and going to the football field and trying to execute at a high level. And he does a really good job of, getting his playmakers involved. Let us do what we do best, whether that's putting us in space, whether that's giving us one-on-one opportunities. When you do that, it's on us. We got to go out there and make the plays and do what we do best.
Speaking of getting playmakers the ball on Thursday during the scrimmage or the game at the link, 4-play touchdown drive to start things off. Yeah. Does that help your confidence?
It's not a bad start, right? Especially if you are for open practice and you have like 60,000 fans coming there. That helps confidence with everything. Also, you just show the love and support that you have from the city and from the fans here with all the people that came out and then started off with a 4-play drive down the field and score a touchdown. Hopefully we can have a lot more of those for the rest of the year.
I love it. You look mentally healthy or seem mentally healthy. You look physically healthy. Looking forward to the season. Thanks, Saquon.
Again, thanks to NFL Network. Again, Saquon Barkley there. It amazes me, Angel. And a lot of these people that show up, and I think Philadelphia's got incredible fan base, obviously, but to go to preseason games, 50, 60,000 people, no jobs. I can understand as kids or something like that, you're going. That's a lot of adults that I see, not just in Philadelphia, all around. I'm like, don't you work? Don't people work? Or you have all this time to go to training camp and spend hours there early in the morning?
You should see how they, goodness gracious, hold on. You should see how they travel. So Philly Sports Tours, Vin Fizzuto, he's leap bound that his invention, he's an engineer by design, worked for Boeing. And I mean, some amazing engineering that he's done before, but decided to take a leap, go into doing a booking trip for Philly fans to travel all over the place. So he's now opened up a second new division. Now he's working with the Cleveland Browns so the Brown fans can travel. And basically he charters an entire airplane to be able to travel everywhere. But I don't understand how you figure it's what, 200, I would say roughly about 250 people per plane. Rick might be able to give me that better number on that one. But so they charter out the entire plane and you get food, tailgate parties, tickets to the game, the whole 9 yards. The one for here for Tampa, I believe it's close to like $2,300 or either, I think it's close to $2,300. Even still, how do you have the time? Like you just said, and the reason why I'm getting to it, if you work a job and you have 4 days to be able to travel and drop $2,300.
Well, people take a vacation. Rick brings up a good point. It was a night practice. It was $10 to get in. This particular one we're talking about, and it was donated to autism, which is a great thing. I know a lot of, and I'm not picking on Philadelphia. Besides special events like that, which I praise all the NFL teams do, I'm talking about like in the middle of the day. You have thousands of people like hanging around all these training facilities. It's like, where do you get the time to do that? Kids, I can understand it, and I know, all right, maybe there's one parent that's not working or it's off hours, whatever. I get that. But man, it seems to be thousands of people at these camps that like nobody works or it's like, what's going on? But that's a great thing by the Eagles, what they did. $10 to get in and all donated to autism as well. All right, let's take another quick break here. Actually, no, let's play one more cut before we go to break. Let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers camp. Head coach Mike Tomlin on Russell Wilson and the quarterback room in Pittsburgh.
Here. Where is Mike Tomlin?
Right below Saquon Barkley in that very next cut.
Yep.
Obviously, you've known Russell Wilson. You've seen him. I don't know what relationship you have with him, but the level of comfortability, because I know, there is a history where you can make that move where you say, hey, this is the right for our team.
First off, their background, Virginia Beach, the Tidewater guys, come on.
Hey, there's a background. There's a level of comfort, but it's not something that we're seeking. I think it's important that we respect the get-to-know process professionally in a setting like this, that we spend a lot of time together. Not only him, but Justin and the other quarterbacks are new here too. I meet with those guys every morning at 8 o'clock to kind of get the day started, whether we got subject matter to talk about or not, because there's no substitute for time spent in terms of getting to know one another, us being able to see around corners collectively as leaders, me as a coach leader, they as player leaders. And so, we got a lot of things to cover, and we're just chipping away at it and trying to be proactive in that regard. It's been a good process thus far.
Meanwhile, Pittsburgh quarterback Justin Fields says and praises the hardest training camp of his career. This is from the Post-Gazette Sports.
Oh, you threw me off there.
Feeling good. Proud of everyone. This is personally the hardest, training camp that I've been through, 6-day stretch. So just proud of the guys, how we all handled it, how we fought through. And we knew it was going to be the thickest part of training camp. So I think we got better each and every day. Still got some stuff to clean up, but overall, good stretch.
All right. And when we come back from break, we'll hear from the Seattle and San Francisco camps. We're going to have some Olympic news, an interesting take by Brian Windhorst of ESPN, a video that will play that I think you'll find very interesting, I think. But again, all these cuts that we're playing, most of them anyway, Total Sports Prep, outstanding. For the best articles and audio, only one source that provides everything you need, 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. Our staff combs through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them at info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all. Hour number 3 of the Pete Shepard Show coming up next. Mia O'Brien from Jacksonville at the bottom of next hour. Some more NFL cuts, college football news, some Olympic news and video for you. All part of the Pete Shepard Show here on a Tuesday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Sports Professor Rick Horrow inside the $1.3 trillion business of sports, and you're on the record, a special Olympic edition of the Sports News Minute. We're here at the Palais des Versailles. More mirrors than anywhere in the world, 357. They also signed all the significant peace treaties
can't see that video.
relative to Parisians in the war years.
Give it a second, see if it loads back up for you. So I was trying to perfectly segue into the break there, but let me see if I can flip over the screen and then you can possibly see it.
Sports Professor Rick Horrow inside the $1.3 trillion business of sports, and you're on the record, a special Olympic edition of the Sports News Minute. We're here at the Palais des Versailles. More mirrors than anywhere in the world, 357. They also signed all the significant peace treaties relative to Parisians in the war years ago, but that's not it. Look at this tremendous complex for dressage and jumping, the finals and semifinals for jumping. By the way, the only set of sports that the men and the women athletes compete in the same event. And clearly, it is a major event, having watched some of this. 80 horses in a day one jump off to get to 30 in the finals for the jumping. It is one of the premier tickets the entire Olympics, and the entire equine and horse industry revolves around this event in a venue that was never made for this. An example, just like beach volleyball under the Eiffel Tower, the ingenuity of the Parisians. Sports Professor Rick Horrow, Sports News Minute, the equestrian event.
Hi folks, this is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You gotta go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman.
In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Pete Shepherd Show.
Welcome back, my minions. Welcome to hour number 3 here at the Pete Shepherd Show here on a wonderful Tuesday. Nice to see the sun out here again in beautiful Southwest Florida. I'm sure I can tell Angel looking out his window where he has started to charge admission, at least 10 to 15 cents per head to look inside his window and view Angel's technique and how he runs the show. So that's great. That's great. Good marketing by you. So it's sunny up there in Tampa, correct?
Yes, we finally see blue skies. I think the last time we saw it was like maybe noonish on Friday, so it's nice to see blue skies back again. It's a beautiful
Absolutely. And welcome back. It's hour number 3 of the Pete Shepherd Show, Coastal Sports Network. I am Pete Shepherd. He is Angel Martinez. Follow us. Follow me on Twitter. Follow him too on Twitter at PeteShep326. Facebook, SR1029 The Game, and SR1029thegame.com is where you can download the app. We're powered by Ion TV. Also check us out at CSN Florida, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and call or text 727-858-6650. One NFL note, the last few minutes, Emmanuel Mosley, Lions quarterback, suffered a torn pec in practice. He's out indefinitely. He tore his left ACL a couple of years ago in 2022 and his right ACL in 2023, and now has suffered a torn pectoral this year, and he has gone through hell. There's no question about that. Neil O'Brien coming up at the bottom of the hour, as we will discuss what's going on in the Jacksonville Jaguars camp as well. We'll get to some more. Let's finish up with our NFL sound before I get to some Olympic analysis, basketball analysis by Brian Windhorst. Some interesting comments he made. So if we could scroll down just right after the Justin Fields cut is Seattle's Mike McDonald on Jackson Smith. Jigba.
We're about to talk to JSN. What's the element that he brings that's kind of unique to him as opposed to the other receivers that you've got?
He's got this like fluid explosiveness about him that can run the entire route tree. Incredible ways like track the ball, body control, explosive in and out of his cuts. And I think, and I talk about all this like tacit stuff all the time, but it's like this competitor in him, the mentality of what we want. You know, he has that. So I encourage him to keep doing those things. If you could relay the message to him, that'd be great.
All right, and now to San Francisco's Brian Griese. Loves having a healthy Brock Purdy in camp.
From last year's training camp to now, is there a certain area of Brock's game that really stands out to you where he's improved the most?
Oh, man, it's completely different. Last year, I was just hoping he was going to be healthy. And we were taking whatever reps we could get. We were on a pitch count. And so every single period, we had a certain number of throws, including warm-ups, you know. So it's so nice this year to not, first of all, be dealing with that. And then second, that, you know, if we need to push a little bit in a practice to work on something or to take 5 extra reps after a period during a special teams period, we can do that. Post-practice, he can get out there and throw on the move and do some. Like, it's completely different.
All right, thanks to NBC Sports Bay Area. And before that, Seattle Seahawks webpage. Next cut, there's 2 parts to this. One is going to be here, Angel. Another one is going to be on ESPN, a video of Jeff Darlington. I'll explain in a second. But here's Mike Garafolo yesterday and Tom Pelissero on Brandon Ayuk's hold-in. And this is from the NFL Network.
How about Brandon Ayuk, the San Francisco 49ers wide receiver who continues his hold-in out there in Santa Clara? He was unhappy with what the team had offered him before training camp, decided to show up, but that didn't mean that he was going to participate. Despite reports over the last couple of days that A, he would agree to a contract extension with the 49ers, B, that he has already been traded to several teams, Ayuk remains a 49er. It is a situation that continues to bear watching, and that is just what we are doing with regard to Brandon Ayuk and the 49ers. So I bring in Tom, and I throw it to you, and I ask you what the latest is on your end on Brandon Ayuk, because I'm pretty sure the latest on my end is that there's really nothing new, or at least nothing firm.
Well, Mike, it depends if you choose to listen to people who bought blue check marks on social media to pretend that they have information. And then the scam, as they do it, is they take real information, bits and pieces, and then they try to do the fake thing where they say, this is now done, when they're really just guessing and they're hoping, and then they just pretend the 9 things they got wrong didn't actually happen. And then they'll just be like, when they get one right, they're like, oh, look at this over here. So no. There is no trade done to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There is no trade done to any other team. No, the bro hug and the dap the other day does not mean Brandon Ayuk has agreed to terms on a new contract with the San Francisco 49ers. Well, I can tell you, since this is The Insiders, and this is a show that you should trust for accurate information and not whatever somebody's decided to aggregate and misrepresent for their own benefit, is that there certainly have been trade discussions surrounding Brandon Ayuk. In fact, certain specific other teams have been granted permission from the 49ers to speak with Ayuk's agent, Ryan Williams, and try to work out a contract that would have to be a part of any.
Okay, we can cut it right there. Okay, well, that was yesterday, and I understand where he's coming from. We make, the people, the fake blue check mark. Now, Angel, if we go to ESPN's, the top story right now is this story about Ayuk and possibly the Patriots or Cleveland Browns now being involved. So Tom Pelissero, I get where he was coming from, but might be a little off here. Here's Jeff Darlington. I know once you get through that commercial, Jeff Darlington earlier on Get Up, reacting to the news now that certainly Brandon Ayuk can at least listen to offers, and this was not the case. So Tom might have jumped the gun a little bit.
Commercial.
Okay.
It's almost over. Good morning.
Good morning, Spalding. Spalding, get you put up the boat. Good morning. So we have Jeff Darlington on Get Up just a little while ago talking about this situation. So Mike Garafolo and Tom Pelissero might have been a little off with not buying into some of the blue checkmark people, which I don't know if that's a rip into Adam Schefter or other people. I would think it wouldn't be, but clearly, ESPN had this first.
All right. Can you see it?
Yep, I can.
All righty.
As of last night, we had some new developments in this story, and they could be very significant. Jeff Darlington is my insider extraordinaire. Jeff, go.
Greeny, first and foremost, a very happy birthday. And for your birthday, I give you some salacious and delicious news when it comes to Brandon Ayuk. Because overnight, Matt Maiocco, a longtime beat reporter for the 49ers, reported that there is framework in place for a potential trade with multiple teams. Now, that includes the Browns and the Patriots. Now, let me unpack this for you because there's a lot to this. Now, our ESPN reporters are also all over this. The Browns have been interested for quite a while now. So too have the Patriots. But right now we're moving the chains a little bit forward because now it's about trade compensation and it's about the actual compensation to Brandon Ayuk in the form of a new contract. Now, this is where it gets especially interesting. Ayuk still has the ability to completely squash all of this by simply saying, I don't like the contract offers from the Browns or the Patriots and stay with the 49ers. The 49ers too could squash this by saying, we don't like the trade compensation from the Browns or the Patriots. But the point here is the conversations are extremely intense right now. They are ongoing, and it does feel like, at least in this regard, we are moving towards some resolution when it comes to Brandon Ayuk and the 49ers.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. And to go further, because Mike Reese had a piece updated a little while ago, covers the Patriots for ESPN, great guy. The pursuit of Ayuk goes back to February, meaning the Patriots, when Executive VP of Player Personnel Elliot Wolf shared his hope to, quote, weaponize the offense, unquote. They select Drake May with the number 3 overall pick, and one of their goals has been to surround him with more talent, obviously. They also attempted back in March, you might remember, to sign free agent wide receiver Calvin Ridley, who ultimately signed with the Tennessee Titans to that 4-year $92 million deal. So this is interesting. This is the lead story right now on ESPN. That means anything to anybody. So there is something to it. So NFL Network mad, upset that they didn't get this, but we will absolutely keep you posted on this one.
Yeah. Even the senator from Pennsylvania wants to chime in because he has some breaking news about it as well.
Really, like the 95.
He's going to end up somewhere in the 95. It's either going to be with the Patriots or the Eagles. I
think. All right, Angel. We got some. By the way, breaking news: Kamala Harris has selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate. That means anything to anybody in the world, and we'll see. Okay, if we can scroll down, Angel, to this is a little bit down to NBA Central. Brian Windhorst was talking about the Olympic basketball team and had some high praise. And if the Celtics, just as a team, if the Celtics were in the Olympics as a team, they'd win the whole thing anyway. Just as the Celtics beat everybody in the world. So
what was this?
It's on. Keep scrolling down. NBA Central. It's right after.
Oh, it's on your Twitter page.
On my Twitter page, yeah.
Okay. I thought we were hanging around ESPN for some reason.
No. Yep. It's under NBA Central. Brian Windhorst yesterday was asked about teams declaring world champions and all that stuff, and a lot of people around the world think it might be obnoxious, but Brian doesn't think so. Get some good stuff.
Here it goes.
Okay. Again, me or Brian coming up at the bottom of the hour from Jacksonville. We'll get her take on what's going on with the Jaguars game. Yep.
Before we play the video, because let me double check, because I believe it was, and it is. It's Jerry from Rhode Island who has a text. If you can see it up there on the screen.
Funny how the fake news has it when someone else tells false facts. Well, I don't know what he's applying that to, but I mean, you could apply that to a lot of things.
Yeah.
All right. Here's Brian Windhorst.
Well, today is not the day to disagree with Noah Lyles. I'm going to say that right now. Does Noah Lyles regard himself as the world champion because he won the Olympics? If he does, then the U.S. is the champion because they've won the last 4 Olympics. I will say this. There's nuance here. I know nobody wants to hear nuance when it comes to arguments like this. They either want a hard yes or a hard no. The Boston Celtics, if the Boston Celtics were in this tournament, I think they'd have a very good chance to win it. Obviously, they'd be pulling some players off Team USA, but I think the Boston Celtics coming together, I think considering, what they do, I think they'd have a great chance to win it. So I'm not going to back down from the Celtics calling themselves world champs, and I don't think they should either. Well, today is not the day to disagree.
I agree. Look, it's always the NBA is the best league in the world. And I think that could apply. Look, they got 3 All-Stars on the team, for God's sakes, and an unbelievable bench. I agree with them. I do think they've won it all. Maybe not every NBA team in the past could say that. This is one of them. Spalding says, Dylan from Tampa, how was your weekend, gents? It's been a lousy racing weekend. Yeah, well, it was a wet and wild weekend for a lot of us, and a lot of damage and a lot of flooding, obviously, around here in Southwest Florida and up where Angel lives in Tampa. But hope you're okay, Spalding. Thank you very much, as always, Dylan, for checking in.
By the way, Jerry from Rhode Island said he was referring to, and bring up that again, he was referring to the ESPN report about the fake news thing. And then also, I think...
Oh, the NFL, you mean the NFL Network.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other thing too with Woj there, Brian Windhorst, where he said about the whole thing, they should be considered world champions. I think the only reason why they went with that was because Noah Lyles, if I'm saying the Olympic runner's name correctly, he said in his post interview where he talked about, and he was doing it in a nice way too. It wasn't like he was being a jerk. He was like, listen, I hear what people say and stuff like that. And obviously we're here, right? It's the world. It's the Olympics. The entire world is here. He goes, but for, the NBA and the Boston Celtics consider themselves world champions. They're not world champions. They're just NBA champions. He goes like the baseball World Series. It's not the World Series. This is the World Championship because you're on a world stage. And he made a lot of sense when he talked about it, but it's probably why they're running off of that. But I mean, for years, we've been calling it World Series, same way with World Series, but it's no big deal to me.
No, I mean it's not a big deal. This debate has been going on forever. How the obnoxious Americans call all their four majors, world champions. Well, that's because the NHL is the best league in the world. The NBA is the best league in the world. MLB is the best league in the world, and the NBA is the best league in the world. It's just the way it is. So they're always going to be world. I mean, this is nothing new, and it's not arrogance. It's just it's the best leagues in the world. That's why anybody wants to come over here and play. And if you can't play whatever sport it is here, you go play, in the Caribbean League, or you go play hockey in Europe, or wherever. Basketball, the same thing. You play overseas in Spain or China or whatever. The best leagues in the world are in the United States. End of story. I want to get back before we take a break and Mia come on. A couple of things. Under Media Angel, which is right under the NFL cuts. So we told you earlier, in case you missed it, the freaking Chicago White Sox lost their 21st game in a row, tied a record with the infamous record with the Baltimore Orioles in 1988. And it's an interesting take on 670 The Score. Chicago White Sox with Dan Bernstein and Lawrence Holmes on White Sox manager Pedro Grifol and the losing streak.
Look at Pedro Grifol has been turned into this obsequious, sniveling.
I don't know if he's been turned into anything.
This absolute Uriah Heep, where Jerry's a great man who wants to win. He's a great man.
I think that he's always been that.
Jerry,
if you talk to people who know Pedro or have known Pedro Grifol, that's one of the things that I was told to look out for, that he's a climber.
Just an inveterate suck-ass. And Jerry, to make. It's not a tough decision to fire your dumb ass. That's an easy decision. He doesn't make it because they don't want the aggravation of having to slide somebody else in there and maybe give somebody a bump in salary. You're paid no matter what. Put Pedro out of his damn misery already.
Well, I mean, look, there's an argument that he should have to wear it. Like, there really is. There's an argument that you don't fire Pedro Grifol because he's so bad. And you know that you're going to go find a new manager anyway. And because he's bad, he should have to wear it. So congratulations. You can now wear it. You can be the poster child. You can sit there for another 50 games and talk about how hard guys are trying. They said something on the post game yesterday. Chuck, Ozzie, Frank were talking about it because Pedro in the post game was talking about, we got to do a better job of hitting the cutoff man. And Chuck said it right. He said, look, if this is spring training and we're talking about the cutoff man, cool. If this is April and we're talking about not hitting the cutoff man, cool. It's August. You've lost 20 games in a row. The hitting the cutoff man portion of this program was a long time ago. And it was something that Pedro was supposed to be instilling from the moment that he walked in the door. And I was encouraged from the way that he was talking, and then it just stopped.
Because he hasn't done anything. That's been the biggest problem with Pedro in all of this. He doesn't really do anything.
I'm not a huge believer at times, flipping tables and going that route. But, I mean, he's right. And whether the manager is a real nice guy, it's irrelevant. I don't know how you let a guy and remember, they had and Angel, I can't see you now up on my part of the screen.
Hang on. Let me flip it around because it was just another thing I wanted to share. But
okay. Oh, all right. Well, we can.
Can you see me now?
No.
All right. Let me try and flip it over to this screen to see if you can see me now. I don't know why you lose me all of a sudden, but You still can't see me?
Nope.
All right.
I can hear you. I can't see you.
All right. Well, you may have to during the break. You might have to do the old refresher-rooney because we're still here. There's a screen I'm bringing up, and the reason why I have the screen up, and maybe I don't know, maybe you'll be able to see the video. But AJ Brzezinski talked about how Ozzie Guillen won the job. So back on August 4th, Ozzie had spoken with Frank Thomas and the crew to post-game talk, and he had mentioned, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it, but he had mentioned how, kind of in a roundabout way, sure, he would love the job and the mistakes that he believes what the White Sox are making.
Hey, you told me today, if they not lose those 14 games in a row, they're still, they're still on the 500.
Take out the no, not just that.
You
take out the 20-game losing streak and the 14-game losing streak. They still have the worst record in baseball.
Yeah.
Wow. The math is so bad. I thought they're 40 games under. No, they're 60 games under.
You always look at it like with the White Sox.
They lost 34 straight games if you combine 2 losing streaks.
That mean Pedro is 100 games on the 500.
Yes.
And he got the job.
He's 100 games under.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah. That's tough. So
I gotta go to psychology tomorrow. I gotta go to a doctor.
Psychologist.
No, I do. I had to bring my, because some 4 years ago I was happy, man. Now I'm bitter and weird.
You're bitter watching this team play?
No, it's like because I don't think I was the bad manager when they picked Pedro in front of me. I gotta see a psychiatrist. Yeah. So I'm drinking a lot.
You are.
I have problems with my wife a lot. I scream into. The only people who get along with me is my grandkids. Everybody else, I hate him. I don't know why.
Don't take it personally.
Maybe that's why. I swear to God. I'm not playing around. A lot of people think, I know. I thought I was bitter myself. Like, my God, I'm this bad. Then I went to manage in Venezuela. Come and go, wow, man,
you won a championship.
I'm not that. So my city's go. It's like, holy cow! I should be embarrassed myself more than anything.
Love Ozzie Guillen.
I love him, and I miss him. And hey, you can't do any worse. I'm not really sure if he really would want the White Sox managerial job, but Pedro Grifol should not be managing that team. All right, quick break, and finally, yes, when we come back, I promise at the bottom of the hour, the one and only, and Mia O'Brien will join me next year on the Pete Shepherd Show right here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, IonTP.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge.
Don't spaz out because
That's yep.
don't spaz out because your team lost. Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
Yeah, I gotta cut the spot break early. Of course, can't leave Mia waiting. She's got places to go, people to stay, and all that stuff. First of all, my dear, how are you? We had the storm down here, obviously, about a day before you guys did. I know how bad it was down here in Southwest Florida. And I think you guys got it even worse up there when it turned into a hurricane. So how are you doing? Everything okay?
Oh, we're doing a-okay. This side of the bridge, this side of the woods, I suppose. I got a call from my one producer who lives closer to Lake City and not as lucky that away. He left at about 8. I think he's like probably just going to hit Jacksonville around 10 just because of how many down trees. So much worse that neck of the woods. So thinking of everybody out there, but we're doing a-okay. Just a lot of rain, but honestly not too much puddling. So we'll take a couple big 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's a-okay in my book.
And I saw one of on your quick hits page too. But how was it for you getting to practice yesterday? And I know they were indoors. How was that?
Yeah, obviously, the weather was a little frightful on the drive, but honestly, it was kind of peaceful. Not a ton of people on the road. We like when people don't go on the road during a hurricane or a tropical storm. So it was a pretty smooth ride overall. I was actually kind of surprised. I left a lot more time than probably what was needed. So it was hilarious doing an interview with VSiN from my car as the worst of Hurricane Debbie was coming down in the Jaguars parking lot.
Yeah, Angel's wife, by the way, is a Debbie, but we don't hold that against her at all. So I listened to your post earlier from yesterday. Tempers flaring, which at this time of year is very common. You saw Daniel Jones. I mean, as long as nobody gets seriously hurt. When Daniel Jones acts up and he's coming off an ACL injury, that's a little concerning. But, guys are tired of hitting each other. That's why the joint practices are always a good thing. But what's your observation just from yesterday alone inside? And, of course, I'm sure the weather had to be a little distracting and disturbing for a lot of the guys, just for safety reasons.
Yeah, thankfully, they're the lucky ones right now. They're in the hotel down the street. And I can only imagine once the Four Seasons that Shad Khan is building opens, it'll be a walk literally across the street. So I actually was pretty jealous of them. I was like, man, talk about perfect timing. They just got to hop on a bus that goes like a quarter mile. But no, I think that what was interesting was so many of us along the sideline were actually marveling about 20 minutes earlier that we had not had a fight up to that point. additionally, it was probably about 60 degrees in the indoor yesterday. We were all freezing. Players had Under Armour on. And so I was like, there's no way there's a fight today. You know, everybody's like kind of chill, like both metaphorically and physically. And about 15 minutes later, you know, Christian Kirk defending his guy, which nothing wrong with that. Gabe Davis after practice was available at the podium. And, you know, he said, he's like, I couldn't defend myself. It's pretty symbolic that Christian just dumped right in. I don't know about not having a helmet and jumping into a mosh pit. I'm not really
Yes,
but he's a very sharp guy. And so I think he was just acting on instinct, which again, that's the sort of loyalty and passion you want to see. But no, it was hilarious, Pete, because that happens, right? And then about 15 minutes later, practice is wrapping up, and they actually had a special teams period to determine whether or not they would have to have an additional practice in the afternoon, I think because of the storm. And everybody's laughing and joking, and I'm like, man, oh man, 15 minutes ago, that was not the case. But that's the nature of camp, so it's all in good-natured competition and sticking up for your guy. And I think that it really spoke to the offense getting frustrated with the defense yesterday.
Yeah, 1 minute it's Sherry and giggles, and the next, you know, huggy kissy, you know, we all make it up. I'll tell you, I didn't see the video highlights, but obviously Andre Cisco, a couple of picks yesterday. Trevor Lawrence's worst nightmare, huh?
So Trevor only threw one, and honestly, like a couple of my colleagues said that they felt like Trevor was like a B- yesterday. I didn't think he was a B-. I actually thought he looked pretty sharp for the most part. I think Cisco was just playing like his hair was on fire. The interception that Trevor threw, yes, was, you know, he just didn't see him in the middle of the field, which that's a little bit glaring, but hey, we'll give him a pass. CJ Beathard was picked off by him. That was more of a punt than it was an interception. And then Mac Jones, as I kind of saw, my vision was a little bit blocked. I heard it was akin to Trevor's, where it was definitely a ball that he probably shouldn't have thrown. But at the same time, I think it was just a matter of a player making a ton of plays on the ball. I also counted 6 pass breakups, including 2 by the rookie out of Ole Miss, DeAndre Prince. And so I think it was just a case of iron sharpens iron on the defensive side of the ball and getting the best of the offense, which Trevor Lawrence went 6 practices without having a turnover. That's an interception or a fumble. And so I think it was a regression to the mean, and quite simply the defense being a little frustrated after the first few days and pads were dominated by the offense.
Commend Doug Peterson. I think it was a couple of weeks ago now that I'm thinking about it. He was the first coach to come on and say, hey, screw all this stuff. Our guys are playing the first and third preseason games, which I commend him. I still don't understand why Caleb Williams doesn't play in an exhibition game. There's some things that go on in the NFL, and I don't know what this protection stuff is all about, because we see it takes at least a month for everybody to get in sync, especially with teams that have new adjustments at center, offensive line, et cetera. But I praise Coach Peterson. Hey, our guys are going to play. Now, when you guys take on the Chiefs in 4 days, how long do you think your starters will play?
My guess is probably a drive. I know some of my contemporaries on the beat did the math from a season ago and the year before that, and the starters played about 13 snaps, which was 1 drive. They scored a touchdown, and Doug pulled them right back off in the first preseason game each of the past 2 seasons. And so that's my expectation. I think a lot of folks were a little bit concerned with regards to some of the nicks and bruises that have popped up over camp, especially along the offensive line. Would Doug still feel comfortable playing the starters, playing Trevor Lawrence? He said he's very comfortable. I will tell you this, Cam Robinson's been available in individual drills. Ezra Cleveland showed up in a uniform, even though they were holding him out of practice. Like, he wants to practice with the heel injury. And Doug kind of expressed that yesterday, that, Ezra wants to be out there. And if it was a game, maybe, but they're trying to be precautious with him. And Anton Harrison's in the concussion protocol, and there's nothing you can do about that. It was a freak. After practice, he went up to the training staff and said, hey, I feel a little woozy, and now he's out for a week. And so he expects to have him back hopefully by tomorrow, and in turn, he would be ready for Saturday. And so sounds like they would have their quote-unquote starting 5. They hope to have week 1 ready and available. And so it'll be interesting to see, though, how many snaps he actually gives the entire first unit.
Interesting to know how you're, and I watched some of it, not the whole thing yet. I wasn't able to, but the fascinating stuff. You always do such a great job. I can't believe you're not at ESPN yet. I'm telling as many people as I can. By the way, one of the exec producers for the Miami Hurricanes radio, I went on this podcast yesterday as a favor to him, because people do, like yourself, do so many favors for me coming on this show. And he had total praises about you. Like,
Oh, I appreciate that.
Him and others in Miami are like, man, she is fantastic. When you said they all listen to you over there and on this show at least, and they try to, she's like, Mia is unbelievable. Why isn't she working at ESPN more? And I said, I know she does some college basketball stuff for ESPN Plus.
Tell them to call me, please, especially on the women's side. Just fly me on down there. Jazz Roberts going to be the captain this year. One of my good mentees in the biz.
Awesome. Well, interesting. You had a great one-on-one interview with Trey Prince, the rookie cornerback. How did that go?
Yeah, very engaging character. I think it was so funny, and I think kind of the summation of the interview was hit when I asked him about Jarian Jones, the other corner the Jaguars drafted in the 2024 NFL draft. And Jarian's going to get a lot more of the press, not just because he was a third-round pick, not just because he's semi-local out of Florida State, grew up a Jaguar fan, but because he is perhaps the biggest talker in the Jaguars DB room. That's not just rookies. I'm talking DBs overall.
Wow.
Yes. And I actually had that conversation with somebody when we were discussing the fact that there had not been a scuffle up to this point, a major scuffle at Jaguars camp. And I said, I think a big reason why, and it's a tribute to Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke, that they've drafted high character guys. Not to say high character guys can't get into scuffles in camp, but guys who are all about their business. Like the example that I give is Foye Oluokun, two-time captain, arguably one of the smartest guys on the team, went to Yale. He's never going to pick a fight. He's going to be that guy that as each play is blown dead, he's going to go over to you and he's going to try to knock the ball out, or he's going to say a little comment, but he is not Jalen Ramsey. He's not out here talking your ear off. And I would say the same Tyson Campbell, all about his business, Trayvon Walker, Josh Hines-Allen, very much, maybe a comment or two, but very much all about their business. That's not to say Jarian's not all about his business, but I would argue, would be the one who would be a little chatty after a catch or an incompletion. Now, perhaps that's the Florida State lineage. I say that to say that Trey Prince is the complete opposite. And so Trey Prince is a much more quiet, reserved guy, but he is someone who the Jaguars were hot on his tail during the pre-draft process because of his coverage ability, because of his fit in Ryan Nielsen's man coverage scheme. And it was something he talked about when he was first drafted, and he talked to me about it yesterday, that he just fits the system perfectly. And I think that the fact that he had special teams reps, even as a starter on the defensive side of the ball at Ole Miss, was a big plus for special teams coordinator Heath Farwell and company. Didn't have to worry about bringing him along as quickly as perhaps a player who didn't play any special teams in college. And I would assume in year one, that's probably where we'll see the most of him. But also, again, another reliable depth guy, a developmental piece alongside Buster Brown, Monteric Brown, of course, being his actual legal name. Yes. Buster, his nickname, out of Arkansas, who was drafted back in 2022, who won the Jaguars a game last year when he subbed in for the injured Tyson Campbell.
See, your parents, you never had to go through the humiliation of wearing actual Buster Browns, which were the shoes back in my day in the 70s.
I did not know that was a thing. Interesting.
Oh, please. They were fucking hideous. I mean, if you YouTube it, Google it someday. Buster Browns, and this looking brownish blue shoe that were always on sale in the 70s, mid to early 70s, and parents just bought. I mean, every kid had them, or most kids had them, and I hated it. I hated it. And you'll see that Buster Browns are terrible. You hear it in the movie Jaws. The mayor of Jaws references, I'll hang him up by his Buster Browns. I mean, it's like,
okay. All right. Okay. Now it's making sense. The math
now
is
you're probably you're going, what the hell does that mean? Anyway, we digress, as I often go off the deep end. Tell me about, I hate when reporters just talk to me about, and I hate that. But I'm asking you, me, O'Brien, from 1010XL and Helmets and Heels, and we'll get to your big trip coming up later this year in Vegas, which I think is awesome. Brian Thomas Jr., Mason Smith, who am I thinking of? Jarian Jones, Jackson Foster, all the draft picks so far. Who's having a great camp, and who's a dark horse maybe? Who needs to, you think, step it up?
Yeah, Jarian's the answer. He's flashed, I would say, 2 to 3 days a week since he got here. He's someone who they're very high on in the building. Now, with that said, Ronald Darby, the veteran who they signed to a 2-year deal, who of course was a part of Doug Peterson's Super Bowl winning squad in Philly back in 2017, has also had one of the best camps of anyone. And so I would anticipate that Ronald Darby is probably the starter opposite Tyson Campbell week 1. That's not to say that Jarian Jones can't push him on that outside spot. And that's also not to say Jarian Jones, when they're in a nickel formation in which the corner cornerback is filling that position in the slot, as opposed to Darnell Savage, who's more of a hybrid at the safety position, but can play the slot. It's part of why they signed him from Green Bay. I would expect to see Jarian getting some playing time there. Some of the other rookies who've shined at times, Brian Thomas Jr., I think it's been a frustrating, not frustrating for him, as I think he's growing, he's developing. The team is very happy with his progress. For the fans that come to Jaguars training camp, it's frustrating because we saw the big playability at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
But this team has been adamant that they want to master those short to intermediate routes. They want to make sure everybody's on the same page before they start chucking the ball downfield. We saw a flash of brilliance on Friday in which Trevor Lawrence connected with Brian Thomas Jr. for a 40-plus yard touchdown down the sideline. And in that moment, you're like, oh my goodness, this is what could happen. But I respect the fact that this is training camp. This is a job. It's work. They're trying to put the work in so they can build towards that, as opposed to, risking soft tissue injuries and having guys running 60 yards downfield week one.
I know I talked to you about this before about Trevor Lawrence. I think he absolutely is going to be in the MVP conversation this year, and a very fascinating AFC South. That's going to be so much fun for you this year, covering not just the Jaguars but that whole division. Do you think he has a chip on his shoulder?
Yes, absolutely. This whole team does. It's kind of funny because last year, Doug Peterson, after the week 3 loss to Houston, which was an abomination, said, we're too busy reading our press clippings. We got to go to London. We got to get away. I don't think they are reading their press clippings because I don't think there are press clippings right now. I would say that if anything, you see a team that recognizes they're not being talked about, that they are being slighted when it comes to rankings and Madden ratings and what have you. And while they don't care about that, because in the words of Trevor Lawrence, the game is not played on paper, at the same time, I think they are recognizing that they are once again not the hunted, but could be the hunter and could be that underdog in a role in which they've thrived in, historically speaking, for the better part of the last 3 years.
I think most professional sports teams anyway, even college, big-time Division I football and basketball, look at that. They'd rather be the underdog. You know why, Mia? Because they can use the most overrated word ever, which is disrespected. You can just throw that out there now whenever you want. I feel disrespected. Why? Because I didn't get a 98 on Madden, or who gives a crap about all that nonsense? I can't believe the number of players out there that react to this stupid stuff. When it comes to rankings and what's his name on NFL? Peter Schrager at NFL Network going off about Patrick Mahomes being number 4 on the list. Lamar Jackson. That stuff is all subjective. I mean, you really think Patrick Mahomes is going to get upset because he's not number 1 on the NFL Network's top 100 list? He's 4, not 1. Who cares?
No, he doesn't care. He does not care because he's got 2 Super Bowl rings. And I just heard on our morning show, the guys were going through the number of quarterbacks who've made it to an AFC championship game, made it to a Super Bowl in the case of Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, respectively. Or a Daniel Jones makes it to the divisional round, doesn't make the playoffs the next year. Justin Herbert makes it to the wild card round, doesn't make it to the playoffs next year. And how fleeting these moments are, while at the same time also giving respect to Patrick Mahomes, because going back-to-back is difficult enough. The fact that they are continuing to raise the bar even when the roster is not at its best, look, they're just humming along, and that speaks to he doesn't care what anybody else is saying.
Hey, coming up, I mean, this is a cool thing. And, again, Mia O'Brien from 1010XL in Jacksonville, Helmets and Heels host. And you got an incredible thing coming up because Jacksonville's going out to play the Raiders on the 22nd of December. Your whole show is going out there. And the Angel, I don't know if you can punch it up. If you go on Mia's Twitter account and join Helmets and Heels in Vegas, holy Jesus, I want to come to this. At the Circa Resort and Casino, you have there's just a huge picture of the gigantic pool with about 1,000 people in it. And you're going to be hosting your show out there, and people can win a spot. You can one lucky winner gets a free 3-night stay at the resort. And maybe if you can scroll down on Mia's Twitter account, you can see it, and we can punch it up there. That's pretty cool. When did you find out about that?
Yeah, probably a couple months ago was when we were approached about it, just being on the planning side of things. It's something that Circa does with whoever is playing the Raiders. that weekend, they reach out to the flagship station or one of the local radio stations in that market and have this unique opportunity. And I think for us, the fact that this game fell the weekend before Christmas, I think deterred a lot of Jaguar fans, but hopefully seeing this amazing opportunity gets them to reconsider. So yes, we are raffling off a free 3-night stay at Circa. That also will include a day bed at Stadium Swim, $200 food and beverage credit. And you also get to come party at the Huddle Up with the Heels tailgate on Friday night at Circa. What we will be revealing, which, by the way, the contest ends this Friday, so we need everybody to make sure they get their entries in ASAP. After the contest ends, we will have a special rate that you also can receive a similar prize pack for $500, which when you consider it's 3 nights in a hotel, the Stadium Swim, the food and beverage credit alone for $500, it's a pretty good rate, especially during the holiday season out in Las Vegas. And yes, no, since people I know will ask, no airfare, no Jaguars tickets included. However, you're going to get a whole heck of a lot for that $500. And if you win the contest, even better.
That is awesome. I'm going to register. Am I allowed to register? And how can they register?
1010xl.com/Vegas.
That is fantastic. Well, that looks, you're going to have a ball. I mean, when you're in that kind of environment, hopefully a lot of Jaguars fans will be out there anyway against the Raiders. But Mia, great job as always. Thank you so much for taking some time out on your busy day. What's up for you today? Are you practicing today? Are you headed over there?
Off day today, so just headed into the station. Actually going to be doing some promotional stuff for the Vegas giveaway. And then, of course, some other duties as assigned when it comes to my other job over at the University of North Florida as an academic coach, the mascot, whatever they have me doing over there. So we'll be hanging out with those guys in the afternoon, working on some exciting projects.
And then you got Kansas City coming up
Saturday. Yep, and we will have our kickoff show 5 hours before kickoff begins. So 2:00 Eastern with the kickoff set for 7:00 from Everbank Stadium.
Awesome. You're the best as always. Keep up the great work, and hopefully we'll talk again next week. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Adios, amigos.
All righty. There she is. The great Mia O'Brien from 1010XL and Helmets and Heels. What a cool prize, Angel. Sign me up for that. Are you serious? I mean, that's great.
That is a nice prize, even though the $200 will go on to one drink. For sure, but that's a nice price. That's not bad at all. I mean, 3 days.
I love it. I don't care about going into the game. Just party there. It's fantastic. So good for Mia and the station. They deserve it. And like I said, if next year at this time she is not working at ESPN or NFL Network, then something is drastically wrong, because there are so many people that I don't think are qualified to do what they do. And she's so overly qualified at such a young age. She's fantastic. So she'll get there. But hey, it's not bad. You're at the flagship station of the Jaguars, and you get to go to Vegas in late December to watch them, play the Raiders and stay at the Circa Resort. That's outstanding.
Yeah, that's nice. And she is going to get picked up somewhere, because it's not like, Mia, one thing for sure, since she's been on the show, I know she was on with you earlier on as well. Mm-hmm. She knows her stuff. I mean, the in-depth analysis that you will get from her, and how quickly she spits it out. I mean, if people have gone to her Twitter page on Mia O'Brien on X, you guys need to go there, because there's she's shared out a couple of segments where she's been on, I think, with 2 other gentlemen, I want to say, and then it was like rapid fire coming out of her mouth, like, the facts, the stats, everything else. And she's really good at her job, really, really good at her job. And she does deserve to be somewhere. I mean, I'm pretty sure 1010XL will absolutely miss her, but she does deserve to be somewhere else. And Gas Pump Guy says, by the way, great show, guys. I love when Mia comes on. She's very informative. Yes, she is.
Yes, she absolutely is. All right, Angel, what else is coming up today as we close out the show? What's coming up on the...
Just a lot of updating that I have to do. I should be back behind the mic tomorrow at 10 o'clock, but there's still, because I lost days because of the storm, to be able to update a bunch of stuff. So I still got to do a bunch of updates. Just kind of look at the schedule. There's new shows that should be coming because football season is right around the corner. So I have to reach out to the guys I had on last season so they can come on and give us their take about their favorite teams. And so just I got 4 days worth of behind work that I have to try and cram in the next, 12, 14 hours.
Well, no doubt you do an unbelievable job, and I will be in touch tomorrow. Ernie DiGregorio, basketball legend, going to join us, and I believe Glenn Ordway will join us too, all the way from Phoenix. We'll get his thoughts on a whole bunch of stuff, and being recently inducted into the Massachusetts Broadcasters Hall of Fame, among some other things. So I'm going to reach out to Glenn. Reached out to him last week. He was vacationing at Tahoe, and where Freddie Corleone got shot out in the lake. Remember?
Yeah.
Hail Mary by Rocco. So anyway, I told him to take a boat out there and say a Hail Mary, and but one of the again, from the great movie from Godfather 2, just crazy stuff. All right. All right, that's going to do it for me. Thanks, Angel. Thanks to Mia O'Brien. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. The Pete Shepherd Show. Thanks for checking us out. A blue check mark should be back, because that is outrageous that it's not there on my Twitter account, but it should be back tomorrow. They said they made, I'm being profiled, Angel, and I don't like it. Back tomorrow at 7 a.m., everybody. Bye.